Good old reliable here. Everything's wet. This entire day has been me walking around, fucking tucking myself out, tiring myself out, and then exploring an abandoned building after hitchhiking, getting around, hiking around. Found an old abandoned Kmart. We checked that out. Then police showed up, you know? Did what policemen do. Checked on the weird guy that was snooping around an abandoned building, right? I'm not done yet. We're not done yet. You know? We got family members. We got other creators running awareness, doing all this shit. So I had to find a spot to stay covered from the rain that's coming back any second. I had to find a spot that's an inactive track, so we'll get hit by a train during this live. So I had to find a spot to stay dry, have service, and be uninterrupted. We only had to do a little bit of the old criminal trespassing to get here, you know? So, stay tuned, folks. At 8 p.m. At 8 p.m., there's going to be family members coming through, maybe. Maybe I only heard the potential, not 100% sure yet. But we might have the family members rolling through to talk about Nate and Paige. We got Thinning Out the Nonsense coming through. Maybe over here at about 8 p.m. with the person that runs the awareness group for these two. You know, I'm just signing on, baby. We just starting. I just chugged my coffee. You know, which I'm going to regret later. Definitely going to regret later. You know, I'm trying to sleep and all that. But I've been retired from awareness for a long time. I've not done any awareness in quite some time. So check the level here real quick, guys. Don't mind me. That's good. But both me and Thinning Out the Nonsense came out of retirement for this one. The story of Nate and Paige is long and horrifying. And I've been there since day fucking one. They infiltrated this community, started scamming their little hearts out, and that's what got me involved. Don't take advantage of my people. But at 8 p.m., this show gets on the road, you know? Yeah, they're trying to, the same thing they did to Paige's father when he said he didn't like Nate. You know, they attacked the father publicly. JG Wentworth, 1877 cash now. Thank you for the hat and mustache. So they did the same thing when publicly Paige's father says, I don't like this Nate guy. You know, this whole thing's kind of weird. So they immediately started hating on him and saying he's a horrible person. You know? So they're doing the same thing to the mother, doing the same thing to the sister. I do find it intriguing, to say the least. They haven't said no, right? They haven't said these allegations aren't true. They haven't addressed the allegations at all. They immediately went on the attack, immediately. So, with all that given, we'll see what everyone has to say. Jan with the fucking crabs, thank you. Jan, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Lisa, hello. I am tired. I did just chug a coffee, but I'm fucking beat, man. You know, we put miles in today. Got a little bit of a hitchhike. I had a hike to the spot to hitchhike. I had to stand there pacing for the ride. I had to get into town here, hike around. We did a live from an abandoned building. You know, then I hoofed all my gear miles away here so I could find a spot to stay relatively dry, at least, because there is more rain coming, and run this live. That's how important this is to me, you know? Would I rather be doing anything else in the world than talking about these horrible fucking things tonight? Yeah, be honest with you, yeah. I got my own shit going on. I'm running a whole social media platform while on the road and out of a backpack. I'd rather be talking about anything else. Jen with the woolly hat. But these two are just getting away with way too much. And never see a single ounce of accountability or ramifications for their actions. So I feel like I have to point it up, talk about it, at least let people come in and speak their own mind on it. I'm in New York right now. I don't know where I'm at. I never checked. I never checked the name of it. We're hosting the live right here, Boogie. You know, we're hosting the live right here. We're talking about MP Creations or MP Jewelry or Nathan Page, whatever they chose to go by this week. We're going to have Thinning Out the Nonsense. His name's Adam. The man's journalistic integrity and attention to detail is breathtaking and admirable. We're going to have the person coming who runs their awareness page now, which makes it's a very palatable subreddit where it's not that high school drama bullshit. It's just, hey, here's all these horrible things these people have done. So that starts up at about 8, you know. Oh, thank you, not Kelly. Thank you. We start up around 8. I do plan on this account being taken down temporarily in this situation, without a doubt. Make sure you follow my backup account. It's Hobo Anywhere Man. We're going to switch right over. Anything happens here, we'll go there. And then if that happens, we'll promote a third account I have. You know, we're going to keep this show going for as long as it has to. I just hope I stay awake for all that. I'm fucking tired, guys, man. I'm old. I'm out here walking around the country. You know what I mean? Fuck, man. You know? I wish these two would just get their shit together. I wouldn't have to make a video a couple times a year. Oh, these two fuckers are at it again. Oh, they're raffling off a fucking paint by numbers saying that it's handmade, you know? Oh, they scammed somebody else. It's just never ending. Never ending, you know? Thank you, Rich. But I do feel, thank you, Jenny. I do feel like it's, especially in the traveling community, if they're making us look bad in the traveling community, I think it at least needs to be addressed, you know? But what I'm seeing, too, is you have all these people calling them out, you know, to the blue in the face, and they just don't have a platform to do so, you know? We got the numbers here, you know, so anyone's interested in sipping on some tea in about half an hour or so, we're gonna have people rolling in. I'm new at co-hosting. I don't really know how to work that shit. I'm very antisocial on a good day, believe it or not. But, you know, bear with us as we work the kinks out and all that. And we'll have everyone come up and tell their story. I figure I'll start by saying there's like, I saw them when they first started, when they first started on TikTok. They came in here. That's how I got involved. It's because they started pulling scams. They came in here, they got their shout outs, which is whatever. I shout out plenty of travelers. I always try to put the homies on. And then immediately they started scamming. And I'm watching my community get taken advantage of. Boom, we jumped on that shit. But I've walked away from awareness for almost a year now. Almost a year. We've done maybe an occasional video on occasion or occasional quick blurb on a live or something like that. But these two, especially with what their what their own family is saying about them, I think it needs to be brought up in a conversation. You know, what up, Les? G Unit. We're talking about no other than Nathaniel in Page, NP Jewelry, NP Creations. We're starting off at 8. Honestly, there's so many people that reached out to me in the last year alone, where like their family members of someone who got scammed by them, they got scammed by them, you know, which is enough to agitate me, to say the least. But if you check my latest video out, man, what the sister said last night confirmed what a lot of us were thinking was happening. When Adam, Thinning Out the Nonsense, comes in, he can give you a better picture and a little bit more detail on that. But Paige's sister did come out yesterday and say, hey, she was not 18 when they started dating. So we immediately started getting this whole live thing put together, you know? Les, enjoy your show, brother. Enjoy your show. Make sure you guys check out Les Blackwell right there in the comments, man. Amazing human being. Paige's mom was living in the RV with them for about a year and a half. They parted ways. We might have some of the family members coming in here to talk today if they want to, if they so choose. You know, my platform is their platform at this point. Upon leaving, the mother gave a bunch of examples of animal mistreatment. Another thing, trigger warning here, guys. From this point forward, and even back 5 minutes ago, sorry, trigger warning. There's going to be talks of things going on with people under 18. There's going to be talks of animal mistreatment and things like that. You know, if that's not your cup of tea, I'm back to hitchhiking tomorrow. You know, I just think that this is a necessity. And I think it's important to call motherfuckers out and at least make them aware their horrible actions, even if it's just for a brief moment. You know? What up, Terry? So we're obviously getting ready for that within the next 24 minutes. You know? So we'll be talking about that for a good chunk of the night, and then I gotta go the fuck to bed. I'm tired. You know, I am worn out. We will probably open up the end of the live if there's time. If there's time, guys. We will probably open up the live to anyone else that wants to speak on this situation. But if y'all are doing videos about these two, again, stick with the facts. Stick with receipts, things we can prove. We can't have a whole bunch of shit going on. You know, realistically, the main points right now is that Paige's sister said that she was not 18 when they got together. Paige's mother said that they are mistreating those animals in that RV. Those are the main 2 points we need to stick with. Those are the main 2 important things that we need to keep regurgitating, putting out there, and not let ourselves get distracted with all this other shit. Because you're going to hear a lot of stuff tonight for sure. But we're trying to paint a whole picture from the beginning of the social media to now, and the things they've been lying about, which it's just all gross and it's all horrifying, you know? With the lightning bolt. I was considering turning off gifts for this live, and I should have, but also fuck them, you know? Who else is hosting? We got Thinning Out the Nonsense coming through tonight. That's Adam. Again, I'm not trying to go too much into what, you know, besides like those 2 points I brought up. I'm not trying to go in too much myself either. I don't want to reveal the whole live before everyone else gets here, you know? Or have to keep repeating myself over and over and over again. I do hate repeating myself. But we're talking about Nate and Paige, NP Creations, NP Jewelry. It's going to be a whole ass live. Co-host going to come through. We're going to have Adam from Thinning Out the Nonsense. Again, this man's journalistic integrity is just unmatched. I think you'd give any actual reporter like a run for their money, hands down. And then we have the person, honestly, I don't even know what to call them. I don't even know them by their handle, and I don't even know if they're comfortable with me saying that, so that's why I'm not naming them just yet. We have a person coming in that's been leading the charge, you know? You gotta think, guys, like, even on my end, this is hours of research. I don't just jump into a subreddit and start plucking things and put it on a video. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that if I'm accusing someone of something, or of anything, there's substance to back it up. I got a lot of other shit going on, man. You know what I mean? Most people do, 100%. But, you know, like Thinning Out the Nonsense, man, that he did hours and hours. He talked to family members, and, you know, he did hours of research into this. The person running the awareness page has done hours of research into this. You know, like not just a couple. I mean, an extensive look at these two and everything they've done, right? So they have the utmost respect for me. I'm really, because like this story fizzled out. You know, we're working on it, and then it fizzled out. It's like, oh, whatever, this is going to keep scamming people and conning people. They'll figure it out eventually. But it seems like every month is a new development. Every month is something new to talk about, you know? Look behind you. Why? There's a camera right here. Just look at the camera, you know? But at the end of all this, when the smoke settles and the dust clears, I've seen horrible human beings, never this bad. I've seen horrible human beings still have a platform, you know? So this isn't an end all and be all. This story's gonna keep going on. We probably gotta do more lives like this going down the road and into the future, 100%. But I do think it's a necessity, especially given how people get away with so much on social media. And when you look back on the Netflix documentary, it's always, why didn't anyone say anything? So from my perspective, as a creator on here, especially part of the traveling community and a creator on here, I feel like it's a necessity for me to hold people accountable and call people out. And honestly, if I'm ever doing anything nefarious, fucking call me out too. You know? I have no problem with that. I'll change the behavior on the spot if I'm doing something uncouth. But This does feel like something I should be doing with my platform. I used to do a lot more of awareness. Honestly, I started doing awareness, like traveling and calling people out for shitty behavior. And I realized at some point, I'm just promoting these people. I'm just promoting these horrible people and getting them more of a following, you know? But seeing these two and how they pull the wool over everyone's eyes and how manipulative they are, seeing the type of people in their community they curate and they take advantage of, and now hearing the family, Paige's own family, speak out. Again, this is the second time her family's spoken out. Sorry, third time her family's spoken out. Nate's own son made a video about how him and Paige dated before, right? And they immediately chalk it all up to lies, and everyone else is bad people, right? Because when they were accused of the two accusations, one from Paige's sister, one from Paige's mother, within the last week, they never said those weren't true. They never talked about the allegations, did they? They just immediately started attacking those family members and trying to discredit them as much as possible, as soon as possible. This is con artistry 101, manipulation 101. And unfortunately, they get away with it. So, hope you guys got your popcorn, your favorite strain of cabbage, adult beverage, whatever you're into, whatever vices you partake in. Trust me, I have plenty myself. And sit back, man. We got about 18 minutes before people start rolling through. We're going to get... I don't think so, Scott. We're going to have other creators come in here. We might have some of Paige's family members willing to come on here and talk. It's all up to them. There's no pressure on anyone to come and interact with me at all. There was talks about doing a live tonight. I said, my platform is your platform. So we should have at least thinning out the nonsense, Adam. Again, his journalistic integrity is unmatched in any platform, not just this one. Then we have the person that runs the awareness group and the awareness page. The person that's been leading the charge for the better part of a year now. Just gathering information and putting it all out there. That's the only reason we have this information right now, from Paige's mother, from Paige's sister. The only reason they decided to speak out is because they were reached out by this person running this awareness group. So, utmost respect for me. I really, I'm excited for today. I'm excited for tonight. Get this information out there. Again, I might lose my account tonight. I'm cool with that. If anything happens to this account, I'm doing something that's right, I do so willingly and gleefully. I got no problem with that. But make sure you follow my backup account, because if this gets shut down at any moment, we're right on the backup account starting up again. If that account gets shut down, we go to my third account, and we'll keep leapfrogging. And then we'll use other people's co-hosts too. We'll just keep keeping this thing going, so we get all the information out there that we have, rather than a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit this. Anywhere man knows this, Adam knows this, thinning out the nonsense. This group knows that. Let's get it all out there in one fell swoop. My backup account's in my link tree. It's Hobo Anywhere Man. Hobo Anywhere Man. There's like a million fake accounts of mine, so just go through the link tree. Otherwise, you're going to fall on the wrong one. They're going to hit you up in a message, and it's going to be a scam. So be wary of that. Just go through the link tree. Be better off. He does make money, man. He's got more followers than I do. Shit, my bucket. Jelly Bean, what's up, homie? Hey, Bear. This thing, I'm out here taking pictures of fucking deer and yelling at bears. I ain't got time for this shit. I'd rather be doing anything else in the world, but this just feels like a necessary evil. I feel like we have to talk about this. Thank you, Care Bear. I feel like we have to talk about this. Hopefully we can prevent some people from getting scammed in the future. Hopefully some, the accusations that are fucking horrible, there'll be some accountability for. But in the least, at least we can get the information out there. Get it out there in a packageable, palatable way, and even if it's just for this live for you to hear, at least we got it out, I think when you're doing awareness in general, especially with these two, like you bump your head against the wall so many times, or you're just blocked, That's why I felt the need as well to give the awareness group, the person running it in the least, a chance to speak their piece on a public platform. you know, instead of like, hey, I'm seeing these guys do these horrible things all the time, you know, and it's got to get frustrating to see them keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And then you got Paige's family actually speaking out against them today, you know. What up, Bear? Hi, Todd. Thank you, homie. What's up? I was going to shut gifts off for this live, but fuck it, you know. What the hell? Yeah, I try, Todd, see, you know, I ain't got time to bullshit anybody at all. Kevin, there's a lot of fuckery over there. Honestly, that's like such the low end of it, the lowest end of it right there, to be honest with you, you know. Like, the sister coming out yesterday and saying that Paige was not 17. Thinning out the nonsense, we'll have more information on that, including other people that he's done this to before, including evidence and proof of him pursuing Paige at a much younger age. And it's fucking so much more. It is disgusting, you know? It is disgusting. But here we are, you know? He's 44. For the longest time, he said he was 6 years younger than he actually is. Which he was called out on multiple times. You know, you have a digital footprint on the internet, especially when you're on the news for conning single moms out of first, last, and security deposit on a property you don't own. And his age was listed in those news reports, in the police reports. His age was listed. And for over a year on here, he goes, no, I'm 38. You know, like, no, you're not. That's what kind of kicked me in the high gear with it too. They didn't realize it was my cousin, but they bullied my cousin for leaving a comment. Whereas like, dude, you don't look 38. So they made a video weaponizing their community to go and harass my cousin. That was, man, well over a year ago now, I want to say. So that's what really kicked me in the gear with all this shit. And then we see everything else they were doing and everything else he's done. Holy shit, man. So again, I'm the figurehead here, to be honest with you. You know, I've put my time in. I've done my research. I've worked with people in the awareness groups, all the different iterations of it. You know, but really, like, the person that's going to come in and speak, that's running the awareness group, they're the ones putting the time in. They're the ones putting all the time and effort in, trying to figure it all out. You know. I will say, like, if you guys want to argue in the comments, feel free. You know, I'm not here to stop you, to tell you how to live your life. But they're already in here trying to poke fun and trying to have me talk about other things besides these two main points. The main points, this is them and their following coming through, trying to give me a hard time. So the main 2 points. One, Paige's sister yesterday, talking about NP Creations on here, NP Jewelry, Nate and Paige. Paige's sister went on live yesterday and confirmed something we've been looking at for a while. She was not 18 when they got together. That's what Paige's sister said, point blank. Nope. She did the math out using her kid's age. Like, oh, they started dating right around the time my kid was born. And brings it out to 15 or 16. Then you have the mother, within the last week, not even, was like, hey, they're mistreating those animals in that RV. So keep in mind, folks, this story is going to get a little bit darker than this. I know that's pretty fucking dark right there. It's going to get a little bit darker than this already. If these kind of conversations bother you, definite trigger warning. Definite trigger warning. If not, enjoy the tea. You know, we got about 10 minutes before people start rolling in. We got to watch what we say on here, you know, for anyone that's going to be coming up in the panel and all that. If you're in here already, be careful what you say. Basically, we got to pretend like we're fucking in grade school. The words we use and the verbiage we use. One wrong word, your account's gone. You know what I mean? Given this how serious this subject matter is, we got to be very careful with that, you know? But for those who have no idea what's going on, I see a few of those comments going on. If anyone has no idea what's going on, we're calling out a creator on here. It's 2 people. If you ever seen the Age Gap Hippies, NP Jewelry, NP Creations. Especially with the most recent allegations, but also a pattern in the history of the same allegations, the 2 that is brought up. And it's all very gross, and it's all very horrifying, and it's all very disgusting. So sit back, enjoy. Let's hope this does some good and doesn't work the other way. Like I said, I stopped doing awareness on creators because it always felt like the right thing to do. Like, okay, we got to raise awareness about these horrible people doing horrible things and point it out. I realized at some point this grew so much that the only thing I was doing was promoting these people, you know? But with this situation, how much has gone on and how much struggle and strife has been caused by these people, how much has been going on behind the scenes. You got family members coming out and saying stuff now. I think it's important to talk about. That's why we're doing this live. So whenever I saw there was a live potentially happening tonight from the person that runs the awareness group, I said, fuck yeah, immediately, let's do it. If you want to do it on here, you can do it on here. So, and I'm glad they said yes. Yeah, see, it gets worse and worse by the fucking minute, it seems, you know. And honestly, there's stuff that I'm not even aware of that I'm going to find out tonight with y'all too, you know. Yeah, Sunshine, that was horrifying within itself. I think that's why the mom decided to leave and speak out, but I don't want to put words in her mouth, you know what I mean? That's not what I'm here to do. Speculation, I try to avoid, you know, unfortunately. But trust me, there's plenty of stuff that have receipts attached to it that'll keep this live afloat for sure. Hit some comments here before we really get started. Thank you, Marion. Really good at lighting. Talk about NP Creations, NP Jewelry today. Done finding people. I don't blame you, Crampin. I hear that a lot from people. I don't blame you at all. You know? Honestly, if I bump into someone in need on the internet, you know, I might throw them like $20, and that's it. I'll never throw them more. You know, but if someone can entertain me and keep me in my seat, yeah, I'll fucking. Every 5 minutes you're getting like $4 or $5, you know. But I'm totally trying to pay it for it anyway myself. But we got about 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Yeah, Care Bear. That's probably the most funny, you know, horrifying, but funny allegation to me. I've never heard of someone deciding to fall back under their addiction by saving up for it. You know what I mean? It's not like a well thought out, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I've never had a monkey on my back, you know? But I'm under the impression that most people don't sit there and stockpile money up for months on end in order to go to their substance of choice again. Usually it's a poor decision made in the moment. You know what I mean? They're trying so hard. You know, the allegations the mother brought up, animal mistreatment, the allegations the sister brought up. Paige was not 18 when they got together, right? And they're not talking about the allegations at all. They're just talking about how horrible people are, the people that made the allegations. What? You know? Like, that's one thing we have that's been in that awareness group, putting their time in. Thank you guys so much. You know what I mean? I love comparing notes with you guys, and you know, you guys include me in a lot, and I do appreciate that. Or anyone that's run awareness on them before. So one thing we always have working in our favor, they're not smart. You know what I mean? Neither am I. I'm fucking hanging out on a bridge. I'm not an intelligent human being at all. But these two are not smart enough to lie to the entire internet, to bullshit the entire internet. Because if you're going to come on the internet conning people and lying, you better be smarter than everyone in the world. You know? Otherwise, people are going to call you out. So at least we have that working in our favor. The amount of confidence is through the roof, no matter how undeserved. Confidence for days. But the actual skill is way down here, and it's going to work out in our favor for sure. You know? Oh yeah, they're doing amazing. Nate Poland awareness page. Man, this is one of the first people with thinning out the nonsense I saw running the story. It's good to see you, homie. You'll be doing well. I really do. But yeah, you laid a lot of groundwork for the new group that came through. You know, the new group of people that have been calling them out, doing their time, doing their research, getting all the information, packaging it up, making it palatable, and staying on task. You know, a lot of that was built off your groundwork. So thank you, homie. Thank you. The OGs, right? Tonight's going to be a war of the backup accounts, the burner accounts, right? I've seen so many of y'all, and even some of your typing patterns, I can tell who you are. We've only caught a few strays here so far. But most of y'all are here for the right reasons. But it's pretty funny. I think me and Adam, me and Thinning Out the Nonsense, are the only ones that are going to be running our actual faces and names on this. Again, I fully expect every mode of trying to shut this down to happen. Anything and everything to kind of shut this down. So make sure you follow my backup account, because if anything happens here, we switch right to there. Make sure you follow the other hosts that come up. I'm not judging, homie. I got burners for days. I think I do all this research. But make sure you follow my co-host. I'm going to jump on there. Let anyone that missed the video or the videos of us talking about coming on here live and doing this. Is it lagging? I'm good on my end. Pretty good on my end, but screen freezing. Again, I might just have to restart the app. Okay, only take me a quick second if I have to. Thank you, Care Bear. But everything's good on my end. TikTok's been kind of silly lately in general, so it might be a little choppy and all that. But we're about to start up here in a couple minutes. I don't know who's available to come in right now, so I'm just going to kill a little bit of time by talking about how I got involved with Nate and Paige. I was just sitting there on live, and these people come in, it's Nate and Paige, and they're talking about how they're travelers and they're part of the rainbow community. Now, at that point, I didn't realize Nate was pretty much ostracized from the rainbow community because he's always stealing and causing problems. I didn't find that out till much later. But what ended up happening is they came into my lives. I promoted them. I do that all the time. Whatever, no big deal. I'm always trying to put new travelers on. And they immediately started scamming. So now we're sharing the following, and I'm watching them scam. So I just block them, and I walk away. 2 months later, they started bullying people, one of those people being my cousin, for calling Nate out because he was lying about his age at the time. So he was saying he was 6 years younger or 5 years younger than he really was. So I saw that video where they're like laughing at my cousin, and they're telling their people to go bother him and weaponizing their community against someone who's accurate, because we all knew that wasn't Nate's real age. And that's when I had enough. So I started getting involved. We started working with the awareness communities. It was Thinning Out the Nonsense, Nathaniel Poland awareness page that's in here now, and quite a few other people. And we started sharing notes and everything going on. We ran lives talking about this, but mainly it was mostly done in video. So that was well over a year ago. And the entire time it's on a lot of our minds, like, was Paige even 18? Okay, we got proof that he was liking her Instagram posts when she was 15 or 16, because she lies about her age. We got confirmation yesterday from Paige's sister. She's 22, not 23. So by their own timeline, she was 17 when they got together, when they first met and hung out and all that. Nate has a whole Instagram that he doesn't remember the login to, so we can see that he was liking posts and saying "love you" and stuff before she was 18, even by their own timeline. That and so much others. There's so much other stuff. Again, I want to cover everything. Just kind of want to talk about how I started with these two, how they got on my radar. They infiltrated my community, scammed a bunch of people, and then I blocked them. It wasn't until they started bullying people for calling them out. And one of those people being my cousin, I decided to speak up on it. Yeah, so we found that out yesterday. Hell yeah. Make sure you guys follow this account right here if you want all the T's on this account right here. I'll bring you up in 2 seconds. Just send me a request and I'll accept it in like 2 seconds. We got confirmation yesterday from Paige's sister. Again, I don't want to say her first name. If you check my last video, her account is tagged in the video, but her name isn't on that account. So I don't want to, I'm not trying to dox anybody that doesn't want their name out there. But she confirmed that Paige is only 22 years old, and she confirmed that she was not over 18 when they first started dating. Was she Jillibean? Yeah, I saw someone say that. He's 44, I believe. believe he's 44. But if you're ready, I'm ready. I'll bring you in right now if you are ready. And no pressure. If you want to take some time, you want to ease into it, feel free. No pressure at all. I got to figure out how to do this whole co-hosting thing. They don't know how to do it.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good, good. Give me 1 second, homie. I got to figure out how to do this whole co-hosting thing. They don't know how to do it.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good, good. There we go. I had to put you in the AirPod here.
Gotcha. Do I
Um,
sound okay?
yeah, it sound good to me. Sound good to me.
Okay, cool. I'm not
Yeah,
using headphones, so hopefully the audio will stay consistent throughout this whole thing.
I'm trying to
Um,
figure out how to do. I never co-host, so I am kind of. Well, I don't want you to be a little box over here. I want you to be in a bigger part of the screen, but I don't
oh,
know how to
I'm
do that.
totally fine being in a little box. I mean, I'm not going to turn on my camera. It's just going to be my voice today, so it's all right.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right, so yeah, I was just kind of running through everything that got me kind of started on this story and all that. You've been doing so much. How long you been running the story for? Like, how long you been doing awareness on these two?
Well, I think I started really like getting down the rabbit hole about like 2.5 years ago.
Okay,
Because
okay.
they messed with somebody that I knew, and I started going through all the awareness pages. I found the Reddit, and I really started to engage with what they were doing at the time, which was scamming, and they still are scamming.
Oh yeah,
And then eventually, the owner of the page had messaged me and asked me if I wanted to moderate, and I said yes. And then from there, I started up a couple of TikTok accounts, which kept getting taken down for impersonation because Nate was
really?
reporting them. So this is like my third account. But yeah, I've been
Their
running this
favorite thing to do
page.
to me was to report me for branded content. Nate was under the impression that if he reported me for that, that I was talking about them and they consider themselves branded content, that it would immediately take my videos down. But all it was TikTok would show up and be like, "Hey, are you promoting a product?" I go, "No." They're like, "Okay," and that'd be it. But it happened like over a dozen times. He kept trying.
Yeah, that totally makes sense because he's mentioned that multiple times in the live. Like, oh, we have branded content, so you can't, screen record us or whatever, which isn't true. It's fair use as long as you modify it. Um,
Right, especially on this app. Anything you use can be used in the app by somebody else. Like it's open source.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I've been making these pages and posting evidence on the Reddit, I think, for about a year now.
Yeah, I'd say it's about a year since we started interacting and I started seeing you putting the work in. The amount of time you put into this, I couldn't imagine. So thank you because it keeps everything up to date. That's how we know everything they're doing and all the bullshit as it comes. So thank you for just fucking keeping up with it. I know it's a lot of time, and I know you'd rather be doing anything else besides doing this, but I do appreciate you nonetheless. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And a lot of people do ask me, like, why do you spend so much time doing this? Like, what's it to you, essentially? And it is because I initially started this because they hurt a family member of mine and took off from there. And I got really passionate about it because as I kept digging, I kept uncovering more issues, and it goes way beyond the scamming. And as y'all know, with like the recent events. So, yeah.
So I hear that all the time too. Like it seems like a huge chunk of your community is people that were scammed, or people that are relatives or friends of people that got scammed. You keep hearing that over and over again.
Yeah, this is, I think, a personal issue for a lot of people. A lot of people from Maine, I think, are in our Reddit who have either known Nate personally or have known people that he's wronged. I think it's well known that Nate had been arrested. I can't remember. I think it was in 2017
I
for
believe so. I believe so.
possession. And a lot of people knew people that were affected by that. So I think it's just a personal issue for a lot of people, and people are willing to spend time to tell people about it.
Right. I'm always about like, people make mistakes. People make mistakes all the time. But it seems like he made his mistake, immediately went to his son's not 18-year-old girlfriend, started dating her, and then started dragging her around the country, and then started conning people on the internet. So it's more of a pattern of behavior. That's why I see that brought up a lot, that he's on the news in Maine. Was it like Lewiston or something? For scamming single moms, out of first, last, and security. A lot of them are lucky they didn't end up homeless. And even when he brings it up, it's never like, "Hey, I'm sorry for what I did." It's like, I made peace with the Lord. Sorry, like there's no actual apology there because I think he refuses to ever feel bad about anything he's doing because he's still doing the same con. It's just on the internet now, you know.
For sure. And I do want to comment, like, when he does go on those rants about how he's found God and he's a changed man, sometimes he'll say that he's paid restitution to those women that he scammed, those victims. From what I've seen, a couple of comments from people that knew those women, he did not pay anything back to them. They never got their money back. So I do want to make that point. Allegedly, of course.
The saddest thing about this whole situation is like that doesn't surprise me. There's nothing that surprises me about that man anymore. Everything that comes out, I'm like, that seems like it's on task, and that's even horrifying within itself.
Yeah, I totally agree.
We got thinning out the nonsense here. Do you want to bring him up? Is anything? We got thinning out the nonsense here. Do you want to bring him up? Is anything I want to say before we do?
Oh no, absolutely. I do want to just say thank you so much for extending your platform. You totally did not have to do this, so I really, really appreciate it. And
No, no
shout out
problem at
to
all.
you, the folks over on the Reddit and in the Discord. They've done so much work.
Right, right. It definitely takes a village. It's definitely a community effort. Where I'm not adding much to that. I pretty much just come scoop notes, chat with you guys, and then run a story, run a video. So thank you guys for everything you do. Everyone over there is putting so much time and effort to bring awareness on these two. And it's much deserved, and it's honestly long past due.
For sure, it really is. And also, I do believe Paige's older sister Margaret will be joining here around 7:30 CST, 8:30 EST, and possibly the
Perfect,
mother
perfect.
as well. So that should be good.
Yeah, I definitely would love for either one of them to come through. I even have a third account that I'm willing to give. Is it Tanya, the mother?
Yeah.
Since they took her out of her account, they just took her account from her when she spoke poorly on them. But make sure you guys all follow down here. This is the person that's been really leading the charge to bring awareness on these two. And the only reason why we're in a position now where we're talking to Paige's family and getting information from them in real time. So make sure you follow that account right there. And honestly, if you like tea, that tea is piping hot and delicious. But thinning out the nonsense, if you're in here, homie, I'd love to bring you in. Oh, see you right there. Here we go. All right, guys, we got thinning out the nonsense coming in, also known as Adam. Ran this story. This is how we met. We met each other running the story concurrently. And like I've been saying the whole time leading up to the live, the amount of journalistic integrity done by thinning out the nonsense is unmatched. Both of us are kind of coming out of awareness retirement to talk about this tonight. So, Adam, thank you so much for giving us some of your time, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks a lot, brother. Good to see you, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Good to see you too, man. I'm glad to get this live going, man. Things were looking kind of rough there for a second, but I made it work.
Good, good. I want to put out there, everybody. Also, man, tap the screen for Troy as much as you can. Protect this live. There's going to be always haters around, so the more you can tap that screen and protect this live, the longer it's going to stay up and nothing's going to happen to them. So, um, anyways, I think I did my first video. You got to go look at my other account. This is tired of nonsense, I believe, with the two underscores. If you go look out at thinning out nonsense, I think I got 8 videos out. Did the first one on them. I want to say August of 2022, and it's kind of funny when you go back and look at it. It's like, oh, I met this couple. They seem nice, but I just happen to know that they're blocking and muting people. And then my second video, it's like, oh, the girl still seems nice, but for some reason this guy's lying about his age. And then come to my third video, I'm like, yo, something's really wrong here. And
I remember seeing the progression of that. To be honest, I watched that all in real time.
all the videos are still there. And I mean, if you get to, gosh, I want to say it's about the seventh or eighth video over the year span. That video itself, I want to say it's the one that has about 500,000 views on it. But it's the one where I actually just dropped a bunch of like receipts in it. I spoke. Not many people know about Nate's ex-wife. I'm not even sure you guys know all much about her. But
I
Is
don't,
that
honestly.
is that the one that starts with a K? The name starts with a K.
no, 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 no. That ties into it. But this thing, besides scamming, which is the reason I got into it. Gets a lot darker. It gets a lot deeper. And I just hate to say it, but Paige, no matter what she's doing now, is still a victim of how this whole started, how it all
I
started.
always call her a complicit victim.
Right.
Yes,
And she is.
Most
She is a victim
absolutely.
at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And it got really dark where it even got, I had trouble actually sometimes doing the research and actually sleeping after finding out some of the things. Like, I spoke to the son shortly after, like when he was staying at a buddy's, and told me the first time, like how that's when he was dating her at the time, if you know what I mean. The son was, and his
Yeah, for
encounter of
those
what
that
he
don't know,
saw.
Nate's son was dating Paige, and
Yes,
then Nate asked to date Paige from the son.
And
He made a
Paige's
video of
older
it.
sister did confirm that, by the way, yesterday in her live.
You can see that in my last video of her saying that.
her son at first one, he didn't want to speak out after this, but he did kind of tell me how it all happened and that they ran off together and what he physically saw with his own eyes. And I could just tell you, as his son, I would feel really messed up. And um, besides all the scam and stuff, it just gets really dark. And I can get more into that later and kind of use some code words for part of it, because I don't want to do anything that's gonna like obviously, be negative for the live. But and if there's other people joining, I want to give them respect, because I've always questioned how some people knew about it the whole time and was okay being around it, if you know what I mean. But I want to be respectful so those people can tell their stories. And I'm not trying to push anybody away, because in the end, that person, she is going to need some serious, probably counseling help because of what this man has done, and she's not the first.
Are we
But in
talking about
that
Paige
video
here or
with
somebody else?
what's that?
Are we talking about Paige here or somebody else?
Yeah, Paige. Yeah, but in
Okay. Oh,
in
yeah,
the
definitely. Completely agree.
because that video I was talking about that like had the 500,000 views on my other page. If you look in it, I spoke to the ex-wife. I had permission to post conversations. I had permission to actually where she covered parts of the birth certificate of her son that she had with Nate, to show that Nate was lying, because everybody was like, "Oh, he's doctoring images." I was the person back then that drove Nate crazy, and he tried to discredit me much as he could, anything I said. So I actually, with permission, posted his son's birth certificate. It's still in the video. There's no way you can lie about that kind of stuff. Plus the news articles. I mean, you can't just.
This is back when he was lying about his age, or
Yeah,
lying
he
about
was
something
trying to
else. Okay.
justify that he was still 38 back then, if you remember. Um, I was in touch with Paige's own biological father. Not many people even knew that. Um, he has
But that was the
he had
biggest
a
red
lot of.
flag for me at first, because it was like this wholesome video where Nate's pretty much giving Paige away to her own father. It was very strange. But then the father publicly said after the fact, like, "Hey, I don't like this guy dating my daughter." So they went on full attack mode and attacked the father, and immediately tried to destroy his credibility and reputation just for saying he didn't like Nate. You know,
Yeah, do you remember in the RV when he filmed her walking to her father, and it was a loving moment, like because they had met in Florida, and she was walking off to meet the father, and they were going for a little cruise, and then she came back. Well, she
but
had never.
that video spoke volumes because the father didn't want to interact with Nate. Nate had to stand
No,
away 50 feet to let Paige walk off. you know,
the father himself told me that he couldn't get close to Nate, or something very bad would have happened. So he
understandably so.
but Nate had his own restrictions too. Like, the only reason he would take Paige at that time to go meet him, I can't remember exactly what the details were, but the father told me something where there was an agreement where X amount of time that she would be gone, and like there would be no interaction, because Nate was really afraid. If you remember right when her father dropped her back off to him, he hightailed it out of Florida that night. That
Really?
that little RV that could barely go 30 miles without overheating, he hightailed it right out of Florida. But how it all started was when I caught the age difference lies. Then I kind of caught on to, well, is she telling the truth? So then I found out she was inflating her age by a year. So if you're doing that, you're doing it for a reason. So
Right,
I
but you
dug.
you found an old picture for those in a newspaper, I believe, or a digital news source that had her age as the accurate age,
Yes, it
22.
was actually her planting a tree at an elementary school, and if you put two and two together and you can do math, you can figure it out. Her, it's a little different because she's only off by a year. Nate's trying to inflate his age by 4 years, so it's hard to math that wrong, you know. Um, but I didn't even need the article for the fact that her own father gave me her birth date. Her Oh, his son, told me exactly how old she was. I mean, one of her friends from Maine contacted me that she went to school with and just confirmed everything. So then I dug a little deeper, found an old Instagram post where she was 15 years old and Nate was liking and saying very inappropriate things to her. And then
Right,
at
by their own
16,
timeline, they had that picture up where it's his account saying "love you," and she was by their own timeline, she was 17.
yes, so that would have made her technically 16, and that's where she did run off with him at the age of 16. That's where I questioned how could some family actually let that happen. But I'm not. You can't. You try to put yourself in other people's shoes, and you can always say why this, why that. But I know personally, if that was my daughter, no, no, no. I don't have any children, but I can just tell you right now, no. And um, so they took off, and that was definitely at the age of 16, even though there was some communication at 15. The whole stories that they gave and the accounts of like how they met and things like that were half truths. Like some of it was true. A lot of it was basically they just ran off together and people allowed it to happen. Nate was very strong armed with many people, including in his own family. I mean, he has, don't quote me on this, but I want to say it's either 8 or 9 children. I can't remember, but he was with his ex-wife, and we'll just say her name starts with an A. Before Paige was ever in the picture,
Right.
and this is where it gets a little dark. He was with his ex-wife, and their babysitter was the person that you said that starts with a K. That was their babysitter.
Oh my God.
He got her belly larger, if you know what a code word belly larger, at the age when she was 14. So I don't know how old she was when she gave birth, but I know she was 14 when it happened. His own ex-wife gave me, look, if you take their children, he has 3 children with her. One set of one and two of them are twins actually. If you take the age of the children and compare it to the mother's age and Nate's age, it's only you can only see that yes, she was 14. So not only has Nate done this with Paige, he's done worse. So
I'm
my
trying not
question,
to. I'm trying not to physically get sick right now, to be honest with you. All right, so let me just play that back, make sure I got this right. Nate's married to somebody else, has some children with this person. There's a babysitter who's 18 minus 4 years. Nate gets that person knocked up at that age.
yep,
Oh man, and that's the K name we're talking about.
yes. So now for some reason later, the Cape she was actually in their live and actually at one point it's like she was gonna talk to us and then back then and then at another point she was in there saying, like, yeah, he's a good man. I like Paige, but he has a history of going to people, like even his own son, and threatening them that he's gonna. A lot of people are scared of him for whatever reason. I don't know, and that's mainly women, his children, stuff like that. Because I mean, if you look at him, how many men is he gonna really scare?
Right.
So
So
he has a
so it's the
circle.
smaller people in general and family members and stuff.
Yes, and that's why I feel bad for the mother, her mother, actually. And if she is here, maybe she can speak her own because I'm not going to like say anything on her behalf. But I just, in my gut feeling of knowing everything that's happened with him, I feel like he was probably. I could almost bet that he was very persuasive, in a way, like controlling to her because now this is rumor. I don't have any proof, but many people have said it. But they both have a history of substance abuse together. So that's where I think there's a connection where they were a little toxic together, and maybe it was hard for her to break away from that whole system, and that's maybe why it was hard for her as a mother. I'm guessing to, I don't know. To me, you don't.
It's speculation for sure,
Yeah,
but there was
yeah.
something, right? Something had to be
But
out
in
of
the
sorts
beginning,
for all
he
this to
got
go
caught
on.
in so many things. Like, okay, they were in Florida. He raised money. Okay, they always made jewelry and did this or that or tie dye or whatever it was at whatever time. But I'm sure FN, she probably even has videos of this, but there's been many times where he's laughed in people's face, cackled that he's so rich, people wish he had his money.
Oh
He,
yeah, no, he
Oh
he took
yeah,
out thousands of
100%.
dollars and fanned them on a live before.
Yeah,
yeah,
and even recently, he's told the audience that he makes upwards of $10,000 a week. And whenever somebody comments something that he doesn't like, he'll say, "I make more than you by breakfast," or whatever he says. So he very much flaunts wealth. I don't know if he has that wealth to begin with, but he tries to flaunt it. And then on the other side, he's begging on live for RV repairs.
yeah.
Yeah, like
It's
I
like when he
understand that
was.
there's a sucker born every minute. I just don't understand the community over there. Like, how can you hear something one day, hear the opposite the next day, and be like, yeah, sounds legit. I understand people yearn to belong and stuff like that, and there's plenty of people that would take advantage of that. I just don't understand the people over there supporting this, especially as every allegation gets worse than the last, and information comes out almost daily on these two. You know,
Hmm.
I don't understand it at all.
Now I haven't watched for the past year. FN might know this, but like I remember they had a moderator like Nessa and a couple others that have been there, tried and true for a long time. And if people like that are actually still there, because I haven't watched them in a while, I can't stomach them. So
Right.
they at this point have to know or be a part of it, and they are just as guilty.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I see many of them looking at my profile every day because I have the profile history turned on, and I can see them looking at my videos and accidentally reposting my videos. And they're definitely watching, they see the evidence. And I do think a big part of the problem is their supporters are so diehard and they'll support them no matter what. And so they will always have a platform.
I don't understand what happened with critical thinking and being able to look at something and say, I need to think about this or this doesn't seem right. Like how can you sit over there for a year or two at a time and actually not see like it's like some of the scams I caught him in that were so easy. Where when he was in Florida, he got the ticket for parking in a county park, and he had to raise money for I think it was 100 and something or 200 and something dollars for the ticket so he could pay it before they left Florida. Well, they left Florida, and I researched the ticket because he flashed it on the camera. So okay, I'm smart enough. I can zoom a camera and look at the ticket number. Looked up the ticket. He had a warrant out for his arrest. He never even paid it after raising the funds from his followers. And then they were in Florida and they got hit by the hurricane. They were at a Love's truck stop, and it was just so funny because like I ended up knowing what truck stop it was, and I just somebody else knew too, and they raised two or it was like 200 something $300 to go into a hotel for a couple of days because they didn't want to ride out the hurricane in there, but yet they weren't even technically, yeah, they caught some wind, but they weren't actually in the hurricane's path and
But
that bad.
that was their
And
first scam. The first scam I ever caught by them was they weren't in Florida. Florida gets hit by a hurricane. This is like years ago now,
mhm,
and there's a small dent that's been there on the RV, their old RV.
yeah,
So immediately Nate's like, "Oh, we lied," because Paige always has this imaginary stalker, right? So we lied. We're not in Alabama like we said we were. We're in Florida because of that
because
situation.
they're hiding. Yeah.
And there's a dent on the RV. There's structural damage, and everyone's like, "Show us." This is before they did the tie dye shirts. This is before they did the jewelry and all that. It is scam. And he's like, "Oh, I'll show you." So he goes in the RV and he shows nothing. He's like, "Yeah, it's inside here behind the wall. You can't see it." That was when I first blocked it. That's the first
Do
time
you
I guess
remember
he
they
showed something.
raised, and it was partly from a guy named David that gave him a lot of money, and then he finally figured it out and left supporting them. But he gave them over 1,000, or it was either maybe 900 or $1,000 because Nate said the overcab he could not drive it because of that dent up there you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. It's
He
just like
got
a
like
small
almost
dent.
$1,000 to fix that, and then he showed himself putting a piece of plywood that looked like it was 8 years old on the floor or something. And I'm like, how does that fix your overcab? And like, but that Love's when they were at that Love's truck stop, they said, "Oh, we went to the hotel or whatever, and then we came back here." It was funny because one of the Love's truck stop workers came out and was like, "Hey, how'd you guys fare during the high winds?" And he said something about, "Yeah, you guys." He's like, "I saw you guys stayed here through it," and Nate tried to brush him off, like, "Yo, no, we were in a hotel, you know." And it was
That
like,
wasn't us. That was our two lookalikes. We got stunt doubles out here now. But
it's like
for
some of
everyone that's
their
joining, make sure you guys follow Thinning Out the Nonsense right here. He came out of retirement for awareness, just to do this live and talk about these two horrible people known as NP Creations, NP Jewelry, or Nate and Paige on here. And also make sure you guys follow FN at the bottom there, leading the charge in the awareness community for quite some time now. I want to say at least over a year. If you want all the tea in a perfectly packaged and palatable way, check out both these accounts. I think Thinning Out the Nonsense, you have a different account. If one of my moderators could pin that. Oh, we can't pin comments right now. Shit.
well,
If
this
you
is
type in
tired of
Thinning Out the,
nonsense. The other one's thinning out, not thinning out nonsense, underscores between the words. But I think
okay,
I haven't worked them in so long, and I'm doing all this from memory. But you can look at my videos over there that are still up. But I think we need to hear from FN about like what are they currently doing scamming, because like I've heard that they're doing a lot of stuff with their jewelry lately that's they've been caught and stuff like that. And I want to give all the credit to FN because she's been like totally on this stuff and amazing about it. And I watched some of the videos, and this is stuff I just don't really know about their more recent stuff, and I would personally like to even really hear about it.
Well, thank you so much. And I mean, there's definitely a lot. I mean, y'all know it's a rabbit hole and it just gets worse as you dig down. And I did like physically write a list of all the things that I could think of off the top of my head. So I guess I'll just go through it real quick.
please do,
So
please do.
it was confirmed. So we already talked about this, but Paige was not 18 when they got together. That was confirmed a couple of ways. Most recently, last night, Paige's older sister Margaret confirmed it. The mother has also confirmed it in the comments, which is all the evidence that I'm talking about or I'm going to talk about is posted over on the Reddit. You just gotta search it up, or it'll be pinned at the top. But the mom had also commented some time ago confirming that she was 16 and that it was okay because the age of consent in Maine is 16. Um, but if you dig back a little deeper, Paige had an account. I think it was mentioned earlier in this live. You can go through, might be deleted by now, but Nate had been liking her posts when she was 15, 16, 17. It's disgusting, I know. Also, most recently, somebody put together that he took her to a museum on her 18th birthday. That's also a whole nother post over on the Reddit. Apart from that, yes, they are scamming. A lot of people have bought from them and have not received their items. Or if they have received their items, it's been like really low quality. The stone falls out, the rings are cutting you up. It appears that people that get their orders mostly are their moderators or their big time supporters that are giving them a lot of money. I do also, because I don't think this is talked about enough, we did uncover late last year that he had ran a fake GoFundMe in 2022 for somebody who had passed. His name was Ronnie L. Whitner. Again, proof on the Reddit, but I do believe it's still up. His Facebook username is Spread Love, and he posted about it numerous times, so specifically in the Ozark Rainbow Family Gathering community that's over on there. And I do believe the GoFundMe is still up. You can find it. But the niece of Ronnie had come out and said that they never received any money. She had contacted Nate asking him to remove it or give the money to them, and he said he would, and they never received it. So he literally made a fake GoFundMe for somebody who had passed, and from my understanding, was a valued member of their community. Very sad stuff. Apart from that, I don't think I can say it, so I have to say some code words, but there's allegations of rug use, if you know what I'm saying, and that a lot of people think that's where a lot of their money is going. And yeah, I think those were the main points. And also, this is the big thing that's going on right now. It has come out through their mother and through Paige's older sister that they are harming their dog, Pretty Girl. And this, unfortunately, isn't super shocking. There is a history of this. Just a couple of points here. The mom had a dog named Lola who has recently passed. But late last year, the dog was heard yelping in pain during their lives. And they would just kind of tell their audience she doesn't need to go to a vet. She's just old. She's doing it for attention, I believe they said at one point. But people were concerned because the dog legitimately sounded like she was in pain. And then I believe a week or two after that, they had accidentally uploaded video, which is, again, uploaded on Reddit, in which they had been joking about, I don't know if I can say it,
They're talking about unaliving the dog.
talking about unaliving the dog in a specific way, and joking about how they would present it to the public, essentially.
And was it even a joke? That's what they said. I don't think
That's,
it was a
yeah,
joke.
they said it was a joke, whatever, and they were like giggling, so I mean, who knows, but I mean, who jokes about that? A good
Right.
person doesn't joke about that when their dog is alien. And then once that came out and it was clipped, posted on the Reddit, posted on TikTok, then all of a sudden, oh, they took Lola to the vet.
Yeah,
But like I
publicly
did,
on a video and all that, right?
yeah, exactly. She just passed recently. Apart from that, like we've spotted that they've had a shock collar lying around, and they told the audience, "Oh, well, we only use the beeper." There's been videos uploaded on Reddit of Nate playing with the dog that some people thought was aggressive, others didn't think it. And when the dog is shown, oftentimes she's like sitting in a corner. Many times you can hear Paige saying that she's not going to take the dog out because the dog just wants to go outside to play. So this isn't anything that's really new. It's just kind of confirming what some people had previously thought. But yeah, it's a lot.
No, that was fantastically put. And there's a lot of people asking what the Reddit page is. It's Nathaniel Page Piece, but also if you check my not my latest video, the one before that, right at the beginning of the video, I show a screenshot of that Reddit page. If you're having trouble finding it, people are saying it in the chat too. Again, it's Nathaniel Page Piece. There's a lot of information there. You can find more information too on the FN account right there. A lot of videos going into a lot of these different subjects and calling them out for quite some time and justifiably so.
Yeah, and they want to say that I don't have proof of anything, but like I said, it's everything's on the Reddit, and actually right now I'm working on a master post, so everything's in one place. But every single piece of evidence I just talked about has been posted on the Reddit. You just got to use the search bar or ask somebody. You can ask me. Like I said, I moderate the page over there. I'm user girl with the frick. um, so you can ask if you can't find it, but everything's posted over there.
Yeah, so people saying they might have taken the mom's money and all that to try to frame her. I don't exactly know how that played out, but I do know that if someone made a life ruining accusation about me, the last thing I would do is immediately start attacking that other person. I would address the allegation itself. So there's two allegations that just came out within the last 4 or 5 days. You have Paige's mom saying that they are mistreating those animals in that RV, and then you have Paige's sister saying Paige was not 18 when they got together, much younger.
Mhm.
So they want to talk about everything but those allegations, and it's coming from family members in real time.
And I do hope that Margaret or if her mom wants to come up here, that'd be awesome. I do hope they join us because they can go more in depth with it. It's just, it's insane what they're doing with the mom right now. They're completely turning the narrative on her. And I do think this was pre-planned, and I think they foresaw this coming.
Right, you can see in all the different behaviors the sister was talking about yesterday. They had the mom sleeping on the floor.
Right.
constantly trying to encourage the mom to leave in multiple different ways besides just being civil about it. Um, Basically sharing a dog bed with the dog because they need a table for all their jewelry and all that. This
Yeah,
is what the sister was saying yesterday.
and I do want to make the point, they say that they're God-loving people, they're here to spread joy, spread love, but they turned off the mother's phone and tried to cancel her bus ticket to leave her stranded in an unknown area as she was traveling down to her destination. I want to make the point that God-loving people, people that want to spread love, hope, even if they did think her mother was some horrible, witch, terrible person, you would never do that to somebody.
Or even just taking their account back. They wanted to immediately silence the mother. It feels right. They immediately took the account that the mother was using for what, a year and a half now, and immediately when the mother spoke out about them in any which way, shape, they canceled their phone. They took her TikTok account and try to renounce the bus ticket so she'd be stranded in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that did happen. And I haven't posted this to the Reddit yet, but I do have a message that they sent somebody, pretty much saying, "Oh, my mom." They sent it through the mom's account when they took it back, saying she's talking bad about me. My whole family does this, blah blah blah. Trying to get in people's DMs, making the mom seem like a villain because she is coming out with this information about them. But not only did they take over her account and log her out of it so she couldn't communicate with anyone on TikTok, they also, according to Paige's older sister, got into her Cash App.
Yeah, they were talking about how they saw how much she had on Cash App and all that, and say, how do you even get that information? Like,
Yeah,
how do they
exactly.
even get into her Cash App?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I do also want to point out every time like they were asking for donations for her on their live or selling her crochet items through their live, that money, I'm sure many people have noticed, they say, okay, go to the link in my bio. They were taking that money and then telling the mom, oh, okay, but you owe us because, we let you stay here. So we're going to take this for rent. We're going to take this for this. And they were funneling that money and then withholding it from the mother. So she wasn't able to leave for a long time. A lot of people, I think, were like, why didn't she leave sooner? Blah, blah, blah. She didn't have a vehicle. She didn't have the funds to do so. She was literally stuck.
Right. Like even if Paige did decide to leave right now, could she even? Like this is all done by design from Nate, I'm sure, with what they
Exactly.
did to Paige's mom,
She doesn't even have
Um,
the life skills to do something like that at this point.
No.
facts, facts. Um, I've reached out personally to their moderators, and I'm like, hey, can we like nudge Paige to go get some life skills, learn anything about they want to do business, have them learn something about business, like recommend a book on business, anything besides, you know, cold staring at a TikTok live and trying to sell bogus jewelry, you know?
Right. Um, and I mean, speaking of the mods, I did mention earlier, I see them often on my page, interacting, but there have been like two of their moderators that have been active in the Reddit. And the reason why I know about that is because they got into our Discord. One of them we caught because they clicked on a link, I believe, and we caught that it was them in our Discord. And then the other, straight up told us, who she was, and we let her into the Discord for a while because she was on the outs with Paige. And then we found out that they were talking again and blah blah blah. So it's like, I don't know. I just want to
Subterfuge or
reiterate, you're
something.
seeing the proof, and some of them are active in like what they call the hate pages and the Reddit.
Yeah, and I'm always curious at how many of them are like at least a little bit self-aware to what's going on, if at all.
I think a
But
lot
but a
of,
lot of them are very vulnerable people. I've noticed too.
yeah,
Exactly
definitely.
what Auburn just said there too. He basically is using her soch and her credit at this point, and he's basically ruining her credit.
Oh, for sure. We have a clip over on the Reddit where she just goes, "Yeah, everything's in my name and blah blah blah." And then when we get married, it'll be in our name. But it's like, okay, is he gonna marry you, and is that gonna transfer over? I don't know. But she tries to say, or they try to say that she has like 9 open lines of credit, and that it amounts to $75,000 and all this type of thing. And she's said numerous times that Nate has helped her build her credit, which is, I don't know, interesting.
Yeah, it's alarming to say the least. Like, Paige's sister was talking about this yesterday during her live, where it's, he's gonna use her for everything she's worth, all the credit lines and all that, and then when she gets out of his age group that he prefers, which is, usually what, lower than mid-20s, but higher than, I can't even say it out loud. She's going to have nothing, no life skills, no way to take care of herself, and no credit on top of it. It is very horrifying. At the end of the day, like like to point out what she's doing because she's part of it. She's part of the scam. She's part of the problem. But at the end of the day, she is a victim that was grabbed at a very early age and taken advantage of. And it's going to be a hell of a hard life lesson for her. And it's unfortunate that she even has to go through any of this.
He'll throw her away just like they did the mom. He'll
Oh yeah,
just toss her out just like that.
yeah. Then on to the next. On to the next.
Well, here's okay. Maybe you guys can tell me if I'm thinking backwards on this, but this is the part that's bothered me kind of the most. And my whole page is me catching people lying and deceiving. Now, I don't bother people because they ask people for money. If you're straight up and you go say, I want to get a beer, can I get $2? And somebody wants to give it to you, that's their money. I don't care what they do with their money if they want to give it to you. I mean, but when you lie and deceive to try to fabricate stories to get people's money and manipulate them, that's what my page is all about. And
Yes, then you're stealing. That person's a
yes.
thief. Yeah.
So my question here is like when I kind of started out with the scamming aspect of it, and then I ran into all this other crap, I was kind of like, I don't even want no part of this. But at the same point, you feel like you have to make people aware of this. And besides the scamming stuff, besides the page stuff, anybody can look it up. Anybody can use a phone or a computer these days. So if you look up Maine's law there, statutory, what we know that word
Right.
is of the age of 15 or younger. So if you also look, it says in the state of Maine, there's no statute of limitations, which means no X amount of time can go by. If you're proved to have done that, you can be charged. So my question is, I was actually back then, me and a few other people had conversations with the state police there. Because before Paige, I just told you the whole story about the girl started with a K.
Right.
And she was 14 years old. How come a lot of people in the comments were asking how he's never been caught, how he's never been charged. Well, it's because back then, first of all, Maine's kind of a lot of it's small communities and people know each other. It's almost, man, I'm not trying to do any insulting either. I'm just trying to say a lot of it's like back of the woods type stuff, and Nate and his father, who was, from my understanding, did some of the same stuff, even did prison time with it. There's a long history of it, and a lot of it's brushed under the table. Especially, I nowadays in many places you would never get away with that. But my question is like, I even lost track of some of the state police there of how they moved to different posts, and then I had to start over with somebody, and it's like I almost felt like they weren't taking it serious. If you can take children that are born by somebody and actually identify that this girl is 14 years old and DNA shows you're the father and she's the mother, how has he not been, like, not only Paige being at the age of 16, because that might be covered under consent type stuff, but does he get away with that? Because
Right.
I would be, to this day, if I was everybody in this chat, I mean, if you knew his name, which I can't say it here, but I'm just saying, I would call that damn place and be like, how have you guys not looked into this man for, this or that, or, because that's what bothers me the most is how somebody just gets away with it and actually laughs it off as a lie and then just goes about their day knowing he's basically doing it again. It's just sick.
In 2025, you'd figure that'd be something that's been long gone, or at least something that was taken a little bit more seriously, for sure.
So yeah, that's the part that kind of has bothered me the most. I mean, just that, and then just his own son at first telling me the details of some stuff, and then when I spoke to his ex-wife and found out it was the, you know, it just confirmed it all. Every puzzle piece came together, you know. So I posted what receipts I could in my videos. Certain things you can't do on here, you know how it is. They're going to take your stuff
Right.
down.
But
So
even on social media, like on this platform, they've been talked about so much by so many different people, like from you to me to FN and everyone in between. And they still have a following. They still have a community. It's like how? Like I know they get their views up by buying promotions. Like that's that's anyone that's only making a video every 2 or 3 days. That's usually what they're doing. But to have a built-in community that funds their lifestyle, knowing that all this shit's been shown, all this shit's been with receipts and things that back it up, the plausible deniability. I mean, I did see an interesting take on enablers recently, where it's like you go in and you fork money over, you think you're helping someone in need, or you develop a favorite creator, and then you find out they're horrible, and instead of appearing foolish, you double down, and now you're part of the scam or you're part of the enabling, and I think that's a good way to put a lot of the people over there for sure, because something's up where they still follow these people.
Yeah.
well, and they use the age gap thing all the time. If you noticed, every once in a while they'll come out. It's all staged because it's almost like watching a bad acting movie, you know, like a low budget movie.
Like
Um,
not even a B movie, but like a D or an E movie. Yeah.
Yeah, like she'll walk up and ask Nate a question like, so this comment wants to know this, and well, we did this because of our age gap, and so they get all these, they try getting new people all the time based on their age gap relationship. That's why a lot of their videos are like that. That's why I haven't watched in a while, but his main pin video was always that, about him talking about the age gap relationship, and stuff like that. I mean, that's just how they kind of branded their content, especially back then, and
Right, right.
got their people interested.
Yeah, they saw it got attention and they stuck with it.
I do think there's something to say about like I think somebody mentioned it in chat, like a parasocial relationship. I believe it was Vertigo, shout out. But I do think a lot of their close mods and followers have a parasocial relationship because you'll see them come into chat and be like, I had an appointment today. It went well. Oh, my husband's in the hospital. Like updating them on their life. And I just think they use friendship as a way and as a tool to get into these people's pocketbooks.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. They're looking for vulnerable people that don't really have anywhere else to go in that moment, and it's taking them for all they're worth. And if they ever realize they're being scammed or even remotely speak on it, they're blocked. See you later.
Yeah, for sure.
He's always been super block happy. Anytime you try to ask a question or even bring up a certain subject, you're immediately blocked. That's why
Oh, they need that echo chamber for sure.
you can't even ask a question over there without getting blocked. At least you couldn't when I used to watch.
Yeah, they're very quick to anger.
It's the to bring back the flexing thing. It is so bizarre, right? Because in one live they'll be flashing, thousands of dollars. Like you wish you made this much, and it was like 3 grand. He did this like a year and a half ago. He was like flashing like 3 grand. I'm like, most people have that in savings, if you're on here donating on the internet. Um, but he was so proud of that, and then it only took 3 or 4 days for them to be like, "Hey guys, we need donations. You got any money for us?" I'm like, what the hell happened? You know. But again, it boggles my mind the people that see the inconsistencies every day. The stories change. The quickest way to spot a liar is say, "Hey, can you repeat that? Can you say that same exact thing again?" And watch the details change as they go along. The video where they're trying to put the mom down and call the mom a scammer. I've never seen such uncomfortable body language in my life. Like Paige looked at the camera like once or twice the entire time. She's just looking down, looking everywhere else, trying to present her mom in this horrible light. With like Nate behind the camera, kind of coaching the conversation. Like this just makes me. It was a hard watch. It was a hard watch.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's like when he helps her dress and used to brush her hair and stuff. Like
Oh my
I
god,
had
yeah,
I had to turn that stuff off. It was just at that point we all know what that word is.
Mhm.
It's like
yeah.
Yeah, that was always a hard watch when he was like curling her hair on live and brushing it and ugh.
But I was kind of hoping the mom joined. I mean, I wanted to ask her if I was seeing things one day. Like it was just not too long ago. It was, oh man, I can't remember the exact month. It might have been, it was within the last year, maybe even 8 months. But I was going through Tucson and I stopped at a Gem and Rock show, and it was actually in Tucson. It was like a week long thing or something like that. And I could have swore I actually saw them there. And then I went back to double look and I couldn't find them. But I could have actually swear I saw them actually at that Gem and Rock show. But it was from a distance. It was pretty crowded. And I was going to ask if that was actually them because I think the mother was, riding around with them at that point. So
Yeah, if Paige's mother or sister is in here, if you want to get up in the box, no pressure. Feel free to send an invite. I'll bring you right up. This isn't a gotcha thing. We're not trying to attack you or anything like that. We definitely have questions, but you don't have to answer a single thing. There's no pressure. We'd love to hear your take on things. I feel like you both have a lot to say, and would love to hear it. But obviously, no pressure given the situation and all that. We're not
they
trying
just
to
said they're
force
both
anyone to do
there.
anything.
They said that we are both here, one and only parent.
Oh hell yeah, yeah. If you want to jump in, one and only. Thank you so much for the
Oh
live
yeah.
yesterday. That was very um, informative. Informative. It's nice to have someone from Paige's live speaking out. But if you want to jump in, feel free to send an invite. It should be down here in the bottom somewhere. It should be a guest thing or co-host thing, and I'll bring you right
Yeah.
in.
It's
Again,
not
we're not
just
trying to do a gotcha moment or mess with you or anything like that.
No, I'll even mute myself so they can speak, and I don't want to interrupt them or anything if they want to speak. So
yeah, I think it'd be great. And Marg's like really well spoken. I really enjoyed her live last night. She's very informative and it's a night and day difference between her and
It was a breath of
Paige.
fresh air. It was refreshing by comparison.
Oh yeah, and she's so funny too. I think I was really surprised on how funny the live was.
Oh, but yeah, the Paige's sister, Margaret, was talking yesterday about how like Paige used to be like the silly kind of kid, and that's who we saw when they first started coming on TikTok. Paige was like this goofy kind of character with personality, and now it's just become so empty and void. No smiling, no emotion, and it's such a shame to see. To be honest with you.
I learned a lot from Paige's father. That Paige was actually, I mean, she had a lot of struggles growing up. It sounds like, and there was a lot of stuff with the parents had their own issues. Even the father, he had only could take certain things with a grain of salt because I guess he had some alcohol issues, and it sounds like she had a kind of a rough time growing up, and maybe that's one of the reasons she maybe wanted to take off too. I mean,
All right, Margaret, I know you're not too savvy with TikTok because there's a million things going on here. I did just send you an invite. Again, no pressure. None at all. One and only Margaret. Good to see you, homie. Thank you so much for the live yesterday. Thanks for coming in today.
Welcome.
Hey.
So you said a lot yesterday for sure. Is there any points you want to hit on at first before we start bombarding you with questions and all that?
I guess the only thing I'll say is like, if my mom does join, she is still kind of stressed about all this. And that's
Understandable.
ultimately why I'm kind of speaking up because I don't approve of how Paige is treating her. I don't care what happened in her past, what happened while they were living in the RV together. You don't treat somebody that way, especially the woman that birthed you. I mean, we were definitely raised better, like way better than that. So I just kind of want to, if anybody can, everyone can be respectful to my mom. You know, don't go hostile on her. She is
yeah,
trying to build her life. She's definitely not trying to relapse or none of that stuff. She just wants to be better. She wants to speak out without being attacked.
I thought that
absolutely fair
accusation
enough.
was the silliest about your mom, where it's like, I've I've never had a monkey on my back, but the idea of someone stockpiling money in order to go relapse is some of the silliest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Oh
Like
yeah,
this big planned out scam to go relapse. Like I'm gonna do it in 3 months from now. Like that's not how it works in
yeah,
most cases.
pretty wild accusations, and their story had to be really good. And I mean, it took a whole, 24 hours for them to get a story. So,
So is Graham
yes.
your mom? Okay, Graham, Tanya, I believe it's Tanya. Pleasure to interact with you for the first time. Um, I have an account you can have. Send me a message from this account, from that Graham account. I have a third account. I never use it. It just sits there. It has 1,200 followers on it. You can have a voice on this app again. I think the idea that they took away your account because you spoke out about them, and everything they've done to you. You know, I don't need to repeat everything they've done to you at this point. You're fucking living through it. I do have an account. You can just have it. You can just have it. It's got some silly videos on there, and again, I haven't uploaded on it in probably 2 years. It just sits there and wait in case I ever need it. You can just have it. I'd love to get you on here to chat. No pressure at all. You're going through it. I know you're going through it. I couldn't imagine having to deal with what you're dealing with right now. I don't need to tell you this sucks because you're living it. You know. Yeah, no problem at all, Graham. You hit me up in a message. Actually, I'll just screenshot your name real quick, and I'll send you a message with all the information and all that. We'll get that set up for you. There's some weird videos on there. You can keep them. They're pretty funny. Um, but Margaret, while we have you, so yesterday you did the live and you were talking about all this different stuff and you had it all out. The two things I just kind of want confirmed, if you want to, that Paige was not at the age of 18 when Nate started dating her, correct?
Right. Correct.
And again, I don't want to talk about your mom too much because, again, I'm not trying to add to anxiety or stress or anything like that. But the backlash your mom saw, that was because, according to Paige, she was speaking out against the animal mistreatment going on in the RV.
Right. So my mom, I mean, like a lot of people, I have a counselor. My mom has a counselor. My mom was speaking out to her counselor about what she's witnessing. You know, she's trying to speak to somebody because, of course, holding stuff like that in, it mentally hurts you. And,
Right.
you know, so she spoke out and not realizing that they were accessing her phone as much as they were. Apparently, one day Paige was like, "Mom, why'd you change your password?" And she's like, "What do you mean? Like, why are you on my phone?" Because my mom
Right.
changed her
Why would you
password.
know? Why would you know she changed the password? Right.
Exactly. So she was kind of like, "Wow, they're really going on my phone a lot." Um, so she was trying to talk to her counselor in confidence, didn't realize that it was being, you know, monitored, screenshotted, all that fun stuff. Um,
Let alone she was.
oh,
They had her
sorry, my boyfriend's
account.
in. They had her accounts and everything too. So,
Your boyfriend's commentary last night, man, I was in stitches. I was in stitches. I was cracking up because you just come in with the logic bomb, you know, like every like couple of minutes, you'd be like, that's that's a little crazy or whatever. And it was comedy gold. Skinny was, I see you in here. We'll bring you up in a second. No problem at all.
Thank you.
it was definitely, I was like, you can't, I don't know if we could say that, but yeah. So,
No filter.
my, my mom just didn't realize that they were, you know, going through her phone as much as possible. And the fact that she was speaking out to anybody, would always cause backlash. So speaking out with her sister, they flat out told her, "You need to get out," just for speaking to her sister on the phone one night.
Okay, I was curious to like who initiated the leaving part. So they found out that your mom was talking to your sister,
Her
and
sister.
they kicked her out. Her sister, sorry, your mom's sister, and then kicked her out as a punishment for that.
So what had happened was she had called her sister, Paige's aunt, was talking to her. I can't remember the conversation. Not really a big deal. They were talking. Paige found out that she was talking to that aunt and said, you know, she's part of the scamming crew. She talks about us so badly to everybody. She's telling information that shouldn't be leaked. And she said, I don't want, yeah, she put in a comment that she's a snake.
I see it.
Said that she didn't want her talking to her and that because she talked to her, she needed to leave that night. My boyfriend and I got a call from my mom. This was probably a couple weeks ago. We got a call from her. She was upset, crying. She's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where I'm going to go. I have no money. That was at the point where they had already taken some of her money. So she was really left with like a couple $100. And they said, yep, leave. And then we pretty much almost had her a ticket that night. My boyfriend and I were trying so hard to find her a way out. And then they like flipped a switch and they're like, you know what? You just stay here. We're going to try to help you get, money saved up for another van. You're going to stay here. We're going to help you out. And then now it's like.
It was at the point where I had already basically booked the ticket and said, like, I can buy it right now, but they didn't want to bring her to the bus station so that she could leave.
Yeah, she was considering having to take an Uber or something like that just to get to the bus station.
Right. And then the flip switch where they just said, you know what, you can stay here. We'll help you out. And then it was like downhill from there. It was like they were trying to make her uncomfortable on purpose. They were trying to almost push her buttons to see how much she could take. So.
Elderly abuse.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. So FN right there at the bottom, they were in your live yesterday. They've been doing a lot of the awareness on Nathan Page. When everything was going down with your mom, they immediately started organizing different ways to try to get if anything happened to the ticket or if your mom got stranded anywhere. So even given the whole situation, everything like that, I just want to point out FN was advocating to make sure that we were ready in case we had to drop funds to try to help Tanya out. There's Tanya, I know you're going through a hard time, and there's plenty of people that want to see you do well and care about you, regardless of the situation. So just know that. I know this is stressful for you, and I know this is a lot happening to you all at once for very little to no reason. But people do care about you. People want to make sure you're all right. So don't think everyone's terrible and looking out to get you and all that.
Yeah, for sure. I thank you, Margaret, so much for coming on, and thank you, Tonya, for being here in chat, for speaking about this. Do you mind speaking about maybe, because I talked a little bit about it earlier, but like the financial situation that they were putting your mom through and how they were like kind of funneling the money?
It's hard for me to kind of. I mean, all I know is from obviously what my mom has been trying to inform me about when it comes to her money situation. But what they were doing was, so the last like maybe month, I want to say, if they were ever on live for my mom, they were saying, go up there and hit our screen, whatever that is, and it will bring you to our donation page or whatever it is. All of their the CA and whatever else they had for collecting, the donations. And they'd be like, yeah, we're going to give that money to her. Well, unfortunately, most of it never went to her. It was always just loaded right onto their account.
None of it.
It was their Cash App that they were putting out, right? Like it was their own personal Cash App they're directing people to.
None of it went to her until like the recent bus ticket, where it was like a serious get out of there.
And then also when they were doing the live the last couple of times, I was always writing in the chat. I'm like, my mom has her own personal Cash App, and I thought, if people would send it to her, maybe she would actually get it. But apparently, any money that was being sent to her Cash App was also being taken, because I had sent almost $250 at my tax return. And I was like, don't let them touch this. Like, keep it safe.
This is for you. Yeah, that was like last March or whatever you were saying.
Right. And I was like, I'm going to try to send you as much as I can to get you that van. I mean, I'm not rich or nothing, but hey, I was trying because I was like, I know you want to get out of there. But ultimately, any money that was being sent to their Cash App, their PayPal, their whatever accounts they had was in their pocket. And whatever was sent to her Cash App, I think they were kind of monitoring it. And then Nate and Paige, I noticed, claimed that, well, we bought the ticket out of our own money and we gave her the cash that was, from her donations. We gave it to her in cash, which, sure, that makes sense in their story. But if you think about it, how did you buy her a ticket if you guys had no money yourselves? Claiming to spend all that money on your RV and now you're broke. So, I mean, doesn't quite add up.
There's always inconsistencies in those stories. For those history, we got a bunch of new people coming through. We're talking about NP Jewelry. NP Jewelry. This is Paige's sister here, and they've done enough damage in the last week or so, aiming a lot of their aggressions at Paige's mom, that Paige's sister here feels the need to speak out on it. So we've been doing a live talking about Nathaniel and Paige, whatever they call themselves on here. It changes frequently and constantly. It's a hell of a rabbit hole. It's a hell of a rabbit hole. You can find a lot of the information about this stuff on FN right there on the bottom. You can check that account there. There's a lot of information there. You can check out Nathaniel Page Peace. It's a whole subreddit, obviously on Reddit. There's a bunch of information on there as well. Personally, what I want to see, and I think a lot of people want to see, is I want to see Paige get the hell away from this person that started dating her at age 15 or 16, somewhere around there. And start developing life skills that she can use later on in life. Are we going to see that? Time will tell. But at the current state of things are, you have the man Nate of this NP Jewelry, NP Creations on here, has a history of getting with people that are not 18 years old. Started pursuing Paige before the age of 16. Paige was dating his son, and then he swooped in, and it all gets darker than that, to be honest with you. It's all very horrifying. This man is a horrible human being, hands down. So we're doing an awareness live tonight to talk about it and bring as much information and eyes on the situation as we can, and try to do whatever we can. So that's my own personal take on it. It is one that I saw a bunch of people coming in saying, what's going on? This is not our usual programming on here. I just travel the country and be a bum on the internet. But everything's gotten so gross with that man, Nate, that I feel the need has to be addressed, and here we are. But does anyone else have anything to add? Anything you want to say, Margaret, or anything like that? We got another person, Scammy Awards, in here that runs awareness and is an amazing person in the awareness community. I want to let them come in and speak for a bit. But if anyone has anything else or any questions for Margaret, or Margaret any questions for us, here we are.
I just want to personally thank Margaret and her mother for speaking out, and I do hope Paige in the end sees a better life after this is all, plays out or whatever happens. In the end, I really hope that happens, and I hope her mother is, gets in a better spot, and no matter what happened in the past, we've all done things that we regret, or it's just I know I've done things I regret, and we got to live today, so I wish her mom the best too, getting where she needs to be too. So
Same.
Yeah, I totally agree. And thank you guys so much for coming on. And Margaret, thank you so much for your live last night clarifying a bunch of information. And I wish everyone well. And I urge the chat to, wish your mom well and know that she is not the perpetrator in this situation at all. At all.
Facts.
I don't know where to go from here. Like I said earlier, their people are going to keep supporting them. I don't know what the answer is, but I'm going to keep, posting things as I can, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, as long as we just let people know what kind of person he is, that's all we can really do at this point, right?
Yeah.
I
I'm
think
gonna bring
Scammy might have had
I'm gonna
something
bring
else on
Scammy
it.
in here if anyone doesn't mind.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Scammy in the house. What's up, homie?
What's up? Yeah, I'm not gonna take up too much of you guys' time, but I did want to come up and just say a few things. Nate and Paige have been nominated for the Scammy Awards for years now. They're number 30 collectively, like as a couple. we're up to like 80, 82 now. So it's been a long time, you know what I mean? They
Right,
first got
right.
my attention when they did the apartment scam, where they rented the apartment and just basically took the money and ran. Um,
I, I
this
don't even
has
remember
been
that. Oh, it was that
the
that was the
news.
one where
They
he was on
made
the
the news
news. Yeah,
for it,
okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
This has basically been their dynamic the whole time, whether it's been jewelry or this or whatever it is that they're getting into. Nate isn't someone who can be trusted. I I see Paige's face and I feel sorry for her. Truthfully, they've been a hard one for me to talk about because the grooming situation is just so it's really bad.
Right,
She's been with him for how many years now, just to be clear?
5 or 6.
5 or 6. So she's in deep, you know what I mean? At that point, like it only takes like 2 or 3 years for you to really feel like that's your life now, you know what I mean? 5 years is
Right,
deep.
6 years,
And
6 years.
and that's from childhood, you know what I mean? That is pinpoint a grooming situation, a grooming and scamming situation. They're doing both. They're doing both things. Um, don't buy jewelry from them. Don't give them your money. And you know what I mean. Whatever we can do to try to get Paige out of this situation, I would love to see that happen. And I would love to drop her name off of the list. Period. You know, I'd be happy to enter Nate as a single. That's fine with me. Um, but the point
Confirmed.
is,
Yeah,
Nate needs to be single first, and you know what I mean. Like I wish there was some possible way to reach her, but it's an unfortunate situation. So if you see these two, just don't give them your money. Hit repost on whatever videos you see. Again, FN has some great footage. The Reddit is
yeah,
very informative. Go there and see these things for yourself and decide for yourself. Um, the facts are all out there. You know what I mean. You just got to go look for them. Go the other way though. Like don't send them any money because the more you send them, the more they're just gonna stay and keep doing this. It's just, you know what I mean. And this took a really dark turn this week. I am still not fully up to date on what exactly the details are. I unfortunately had to work the last 2 days and wasn't able to fully get caught up. But from the gist of it, from what I've heard, it sounds like Nate is just up to his usual piece of shit, like bullshit stuff. And you know that's just one more reason not to support these people. Don't support them. That's really all I had to
100%,
say.
100%. People ask him how old Paige is. They say 23 pages, confirmed to be 22, in multiple different ways. We have family members saying it, but also we have old posts and like old news clippings of her being 1 year younger than they say. And
That's
there's
wild.
Paige's mom right here saying 22. She's 22 years old.
22,
Yeah,
22 is absolutely wild. For and to be with a man that age from that young is just it gets instilled into your head that this is where you're supposed to be for the rest of your life. It ain't right, you know what I mean?
those
But
are some
that
formative years. You know what I mean? Your late teens are
yes,
formative years for
exactly.
sure, for sure.
She's mentally she's stuck there and he knows that. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunately sad.
I think Margaret,
Also,
Paige's sister in the box below you, said it best yesterday. It's like this is just going to be a cycle. The moment she outgrows whatever age he's into, which apparently is not that old, right? He's just going to do it to somebody else and keep doing it over and over again. Especially if he has a platform on here to be able to reach
Exactly.
thousands of people. Yeah,
Exactly. And he's got a way to reach these other people. He could absolutely do it to another one. You know, he could keep Paige around and still do it to another one. Like, you know what I mean? Like guys can brainwash girls. I mean, other way around too. Anyone can brainwash anyone, but my point is like at that age, you know what I mean, when it's like a grooming situation, like he can tell her like, "Listen, like I want an extra." Like, you know what I mean? And people will be so far in that they'll listen. They'll do it. They'll be like, okay, if that's what you want. Like, you know what I mean? Like, too scared to
right.
fight
Because
back. Like,
abuse like this doesn't start off
no,
full throttle. It's a little bit,
no.
and then a
It
little bit,
eases
and then a
into
little
it.
bit. Yeah, 100%,
Exactly.
100%.
It's training. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's so sad to see. It's really sad. And that was one of the first things I noticed when I first saw even just Paige like by herself was this situation isn't fully right. How old is Nate?
44 now.
44, yeah. So old enough to Too old to be with a 22-year-old.
Yeah, like
From
I don't.
that
What the fuck
age.
you talk about stickers? What the hell?
He's 40 if you ask him.
Lovely. Yeah, and I'm
Like
26 if you ask me, but
I'm
give or
I'm
take like
50,
10
man.
years.
I'm going 10 years up. You know what I mean? I like
When he did
Nice.
the
I like to
apartment
tap the
scam,
chest.
also when he did that apartment scam he was speaking of, Margaret might be able to confirm this, but I didn't want people thinking Paige was a part of that. I don't think he was with Paige at that point. I think that was one
Right.
of
No, it
his.
was before, and it was
Yeah,
just Nate featured on the news. Paige was not there.
yep. I think that
But
was him in his old days, just doing one of his scams before he
yes.
even.
That
Yep.
was in 2017. You know what I mean? So like, what is this timeline? It's so bizarre if you put it together. Like, homie's stealing from single moms and scamming
Yeah.
them, gets on the news, does whatever penance he has to do through the court system, if at all, if he even showed up, and then immediately goes to his son, grabs her girlfriend, and starts hoofing around the country. You
Right,
know
it's
what
like
I
almost
mean?
immediate. It's like immediate. Like, he couldn't have been
He couldn't
locked
even
up
give it a
too long
break.
for that.
Yeah, he could have just not been a piece of shit for like a year, but he couldn't keep that together.
6 months, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, clock it,
Give it a
6 months,
month,
possibly.
homie. Yeah, like try it. Try it out.
Just give it a shot. Like, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Like,
Give it a go. Yeah, that's gonna be our new challenge, Nate. I know you're in here. I know you're in here. You're watching this. You're a control freak. You have to watch what we're saying about you. Here's my challenge to you: just don't be a piece of shit for 1 month. 1 fucking month. You know what I
just a
month.
month,
Just
30
don't be a
days.
weaselly piece of shit for 1 fucking month. And I don't know. I'll give you like $10. I don't have a lot myself.
$10, that's a lot of money.
I know that's a fucking lot of wire wrap right there.
So, well, yeah, I don't know. He might do it. He might be out $10, bro.
I don't think he can, man. I don't think he can be not a piece of shit on the internet in real life for a month. Nah, no way.
It's a whole 30 days.
I think should we start with 30 minutes? Would that be better? How about 30 seconds?
Ease into it a little bit, I know. Do like $1 for 30 seconds. Like, give him a penny. Start
I'll tell
small.
you, a whole 30 seconds. I'll give you $5, Nate. Just don't be a piece of shit for 30 seconds in your life, and I will personally give you $10 to Tanya's Cash App.
So that's a deal. Just cut it from 30 days to 30 seconds, like, for half the price. Like, do it.
We got to
Just
be
try it.
reasonable here, yeah.
Mhm.
And over the past 3 years, I've always extended the offer. Nate was always more than welcome to come live with me and dispute anything I've ever said, and he never wanted to show up or say a word. So, kind of speaks volumes. If that was me and somebody was saying these things about me, first thing I would be doing is clearing my name.
which is why I'm here.
Yep.
Yeah, no,
Well, he did show up
Margaret,
to mine to
having
tell
the
me that he's
horse's
not,
mouth.
in fact, a scammer.
Oh, that's right. He came at you, right? At some point in your comment section.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was in there telling me he's not a scammer. Take him off the list. Like, they're not scams. They're a legitimate business. But as thinning out the nonsense says, like, it's clear by the reviews that is not the case. You know what I mean? It does not seem to be a legitimate business to me.
Maybe it's a different definition of the word legitimate. You know what I mean? Maybe we're wrong. We don't know the right definition of the word legitimate. But Margaret, I do want to say thank you yet again because like with everything going on, it's going to be super easy for them to manipulate their community to say, hey, my mom's a bad person. But you coming out and speaking on it and giving us, affirmations to things we were thinking or things we've seen before, to hear someone from Paige's family say it all out loud is a huge leverage point. So thank you so much just for coming out and speaking. It obviously helps your mom's reputation, but honestly, like a lot of us were banging our heads against the wall for years here. Like, hey, they're doing horrible things. Here's all this proof, and the community's like, no, no.
Yeah. And
I know.
like I said, I was always like trying to have their back, but at the same time, I wouldn't ever speak on anything I didn't know or anything I didn't think was right. So, like the jewelry being fake or not, I was like, I would just sit there quietly in the comments because I'm like, that's not my spot. And ultimately, knowing my mom was right there, I didn't know what was going on for the longest time until she actually started telling me, like, this is ridiculous. They're treating me like dirt. And then I started, like in their comments, I'd be like, don't talk about my mom. And then that's where I left it. And then ultimately, I feel like they knew they were gaining an enemy at that point. and they knew I had a lot of information they didn't want leaked. So it definitely it built up for me, and I'm here because I feel like my mom definitely doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was just talking about how frustrating it is for us to talk about this stuff. Like you're actively living it. That's really insensitive to me. I do
Right.
apologize. Like you're dealing with the shit in real time, and I'm like, oh, thank you for talking because it's been so stressful for us. Like I couldn't imagine the emotional roller coaster that you're going through, homie. You know?
Yeah, that's such a good perspective to put it into. Truthfully, it's like we've all kind of been, wondering like what the people who actually know them in real life, you know what I mean, actually know about them because we only ever get to see like the internet personality, which still shows their true colors, like absolutely, but at the same time, there's still so many questions, you know what I mean, with this one. So it is really really great that you came forward, and we really do appreciate it as a community.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
I like I say every time I talk to anybody, I'm like, I have nothing to hide. Like literally, not a single question I won't answer because I don't have anything to hide. And I feel like if you don't want to answer that question, you're hiding something, even if it's the simplest question. But really, what got me fuming was them threatening my children. So I was like, it's the only thing's really bothering me. Anything else, they can talk about me all they want personally. It's
Yeah,
just my
I
kids.
saw
And
them
I just like,
in your live last night doing that. Like it had, like Paige's first initial and then last name in the account, and they're in your live, like trying to intimidate you. I don't know if you caught wind of that or not, but you just doubled down and started answering more questions. So again,
yeah,
much appreciated.
honestly, yeah.
That's wild.
I think
It was
FN
pretty
had told
crazy.
me, yeah.
Yeah, every time they like were making these weird comments, Margaret would just explain exactly like the situation, and it was kind of funny.
Yeah, trying to trip me up. And I was like, you know what? I'll just answer it. Like, hey.
So,
Good
Yeah,
for
so that's
you.
the thing about
Troy,
being
do you
honest.
or
You can just kind of be open about it. What's up?
Troy, do you or Margaret know the account name Bear there that says they want to speak to you? They won't get you banned, but then they'll speak to Nate. Do you know what that's about?
No, I've seen Bear here before for sure. Yeah, you can jump in here. Why not? Unless anyone
I
else
just
has anything
wonder.
they want to say, we can bring them up real quick.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was
She
somebody that actually knew him.
she might be from the Discord. I'm not completely sure.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Okay. Different Nate. Nate, you're fine. Trust me, you could not be as bad as this person we're talking about. All right, Bear, looking for you now, homie. Send you an invite here. I don't know how to do this whole co-hosting thing. You guys are great because I'm terrible at this stuff. So you guys are running the show, and I do appreciate y'all. Except for you, Scammy Awards. I'm blackmailing you again tomorrow.
All right. As long as it's scheduled this time and not surprising. Try not to get me for too much money, though.
All right, fine.
Thanks.
I can't invite you there for some reason. I don't know if your invites are off or what. You can send a request if you see it down here. It should be like right over here. It should be a request thing to get you in here. Invite sent. I don't see it, homie. I'll keep an eye on it for sure if you can figure it out on your end. Maybe leave the app and come back in. That might help. But yeah, for those that's joining, we were talking about NP jewelry. Most of the people in here, I've been calling them out for their shit for a long time. The amount of research done between Scammy Awards, Thinning Out the Nonsense, FN, and even myself is hours and hours and hours poured into this, just trying to raise awareness on these horrible people. For all different various reasons. For me personally, they were involved in my community. They came through here. I promoted them. They started scamming. I distanced myself immediately. Didn't even call them out yet until they started bullying people, weaponizing the community for people that called out their lies about his age, which later he admitted to lying about. It's all very strange. But if you want more information about this, check out FN on the bottom right there. All their videos are very palatable and well put together, pointing all this different information out. Check out the subreddit. It's Nathaniel Page Piece. You can see people say it in the comment section right here. You guys also not check my latest video, but the one before that, I have it a screenshot right at the top of the video, 20 seconds in, if that. Um, And give credit where credit's due, because Scammy Awards, Margaret, sending out the nonsense, and FN are all keeping the story moving with their own personal takes on what happened and all the information they have. So this combination of all this information is just us sharing notes and getting it out there to many people as possible. So make sure you give credit where credit's due. Make sure you follow all 4 of these accounts.
Thank you for extending your platform to all of us and letting us come up here and talk.
Oh, it's an honor. It's a legit honor.
Yeah, I appreciate
We're
that,
talking
Troy.
about NP Creations. N as in Nancy. NP Creations.
I keep seeing in the chat that everyone's asking if the RV was like actually broke. I will say it really was broke. My mom called me and said she heard a huge pop when they were driving. How broke it was, that's the other question. It was supposed to just be a valve seal. I guess it took a couple hours. They were claiming it was going to take days. It was just a few hours.
Yeah, did they say transmission or something? Or
Yeah.
am I wrong there?
They said they had to rebuild the whole transmission. I'm pretty sure it was just a valve seal. And then they claimed, they needed more money because of all the fees and the. But from what I hear, the garage owner was amazing. He let them plug in their RV, which is true. He also extended them a vehicle to use to go into town, which he obviously didn't say. But my mom did tell me, he was like, hey, I got this car that sits here. I'll let you guys use it if you need to.
Okay,
So
let
he
me
gave
get
them a
that.
lot
Let me get that timeline correct again. So it's the first night. It was in the garage. So they couldn't stay in the RV. They went to a motel for one night, and then after that, they were staying in the RV on property for the mechanic.
Right. So the entire time it was broke, and when they hooked it up to the tow truck, they drove it to the garage. They were in the garage until the guy said that Thursday it needed to be fixed. Thursday it was getting worked on. They were supposed to stay in a hotel room Wednesday night, I believe, so he could fix it Thursday. The garage owner told them they needed to get a one night worth of a motel room because they were not to stay in there. So they had to scramble because at that time they had already drained their account of their money. Who knows where that went? And
Starbucks.
yeah, they stayed.
The Starbies. Again,
They-
the commentary from your boyfriend is top tier, my friend.
Yeah, that's great.
They stayed in the hotel room. So I'm guessing Wednesday night. Of course, the hotel was only good until 11 the next day. And they had to walk around the entire time. My mom was messaging me I had to stop. I'm tired. They had to walk around. And then after that, it was fixed and they were back in the RV. But of course, they had to do a little video so that they could show that they were actually in the hotel to make it look good.
And they had to argue the fact of being in
Best Western.
Best Western because of the pictures on the wall.
Oh my god.
It is. I was talking about this very early on in the live. It's a sad day for me because today I realized that really that man can do nothing that surprises me anymore. Every allegation that comes out that's proven with receipts, and it's yeah, sounds about right. The whole bar for scammers, manipulators, and horrible people on this app just got raised a little bit higher, unfortunately.
Yeah, honestly, and for this one, the scamming's not even the worst part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It goes so much darker than that. The scamming is the lightest of all of it. You know what I mean? Oh, they're scamming people for jewelry. Okay, you know what I mean? They're begging for donations.
The
Okay.
least immoral thing
The
is the
other
actual
things,
scamming part.
though, are just completely unethical. You know what I mean? Unethical. It's you hate to see it. You know what I mean? You absolutely just hate to see it. It's the worst. It's the bar got set really, really low.
Yeah.
The grooming alone is the worst part.
It absolutely is. Agreed. Honestly, anything for
Which
children is.
time though? This it's
I
not even
know.
just a one-off. That's the
No,
alarming part.
no. He traded up for Paige, and eventually he's gonna trade her up too. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Like, there's so many times during this whole conversation I had to like hold back getting physically ill. You know, it's hard because I want to make light of it and drop a joke here, kind of break the ice and break the tension a little bit. But with what we're talking about, how the fuck could you? You know, it is as horrifying and disgusting and every other word you can throw at it. Again, like I don't mean to keep thanking you, Margaret, but I got to thank you again because just having a voice that knows Paige's real age, knows what happened, or when things happen, where they can't twist it ever so slightly anymore, um, really goes leaps and bounds just to be able to raise awareness and have this conversation. So thank you again, Margaret, and everyone fucking for being here, everyone for watching.
No, it really does. It helps really just like show everybody who they really are. You know what I mean? By filling in the gaps that they don't want everyone to see. So it really is exceptional.
Yeah, I
You're
just
absolutely right, Troy. The worst part is like I told you, when I got into it for the scamming and then stumbled on the rest, it's almost like I wanted to not see it. I didn't want to go down that road and just be an ostrich and put my head in the sand and be like, oh, didn't see that. Time. Oh, I'm gonna go over here and go back to Austin or do something, you know. And but it just became so dark. I mean, it was just. And speaking to some of the people, I don't know. It bothered me, and that's why, like I said, I haven't watched a single live they've been in over a year. I haven't done a video. Just at one point, you just have to walk away from it and be like, I hope the best for that girl, you know. But being that word groomed, you know, it's like it's she's in it, and she knows what she's doing, but that's all she knows. She has no life skills. It's probably hard for her, and I'm not putting that blame on her. You know, I
No.
mean, it's got to be tough. I couldn't even imagine this situation, you know. So
Yeah.
It took years to do, and it's going to take quite some years to undo for sure. That's
Hmm.
if it even ever gets to that point,
Even
unfortunately.
more.
Yeah. Paige, if you are watching this, if you ever need a way out, we got you. We got you. We'll figure it out. You know, I know we've been on the opposite side of the fence here for a while, but we'll figure something out. If anything ever happens, you need a way out, we'll figure it out and fucking quick. Beyond that, do me a favor and go read a fucking book. There's a book. It's called The New Gold Standard. It's like the Basics to Business 101. Can you just fucking read that thing? Because you can't keep cold staring at the screen being buy jewelry, buy jewelry. It's just not going to work for you, homie. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to teach you to be a better scammer, but at least learn something about fucking business if you're going to do it for a living. You know? I got to
I
watch
mean,
this shit for hours and be bored out of my fucking mind. You know?
if you're gonna call yourself a business, at least try to look like a damn business. Like,
Yeah, just learn something. You know? Watch a YouTube video, something. You know? Fuck. Make a little jokey joke once in a while, you know, fucking something, man. You know, lay off the kratom, lay off the fucking kratom, chill out, you know, and get your personality back. We loved Goofy Page on here for the 5 minutes you were a goofy kid on the internet, you know. That brain
Nate in the
stimulation ain't
background,
working
how
for you.
many sales do you get today? How many? We want. We might
gosh,
as well get offline. You didn't. We only got one sale today. Oh,
This
you
the
know,
steady and
God.
consistent guilt trip. Oh
like, are
my
you
god.
threatening us? Like, you're gonna go? Okay, go. Like, like what? Like, okay, bye. Like,
We're out of here, thank goodness.
thank you. I can save some storage on my phone now. Thank you.
I do love the undeserved confidence is still confidence, and I got to give credit where credit's due on that part. But the oh well, if we're not getting sales, I'll get a sale. Then he sits down and gets no sales. And the next day, it's oh, you're not getting any sales over there. I would have got 95,000 sales. You know,
Magnifying glasses on.
fucking goofy goggles.
Put
Oh
my
man,
bubble.
Not to mention, he'll call everyone in chat broke, and of course he does it in a way where you can't. If you call him out on it, he's like, "I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, more people at night have money than the people during the daytime." And it's just the
yeah.
is
I'm not
crazy,
talking directly at you, even though I'm talking directly about you.
right?
like how we must have got the broke chat tonight, and like I'm not calling you guys broke. Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, you guys in my chat who I just called broke, I'm not calling you broke or anything like that. You know? Yeah, man. I honestly, I could do a whole seminar on how to fucking make their platform 10 times better. I'm just not going to do that, obviously.
That's not what today is about. It's more to send people the other way. I don't know. People like them and Carrie Walls, I don't even know how they get people to send them money, to be honest with you. But regardless, they are because they're still here doing it.
Yeah,
So if you see
unfortunately,
something,
guys, like this information, I don't think is gonna really end anything. I think it's gonna be hard to
oh
rely on it, but I don't see this being the platform ending, which is
no,
alarming in 2025. You know,
They just find the very like vulnerable people. You know, if you notice, they're always like, if you need anything, message us. You know, we got your back. We can help you out. And then people are like, oh my gosh, they're great. They're amazing. And then they never help them out. They never, you know, I've seen women comment and they're like, hey, can you help me out? I've got bills that are piling up, you know. Well, we can't do that. Why do you think we're on here? We're trying to get donations. And it's like, well, how much help are you actually giving people that you're claiming you're gonna offer? Like, don't offer the help
well,
if you're not gonna help.
they're helping by selling overpriced jewelry and tie dye shirts. I just want to point out a tie dye T-shirt costs $100 from these people. Just throwing that out there real quick.
Yeah.
But I think we're beating a dead horse here, guys. And I'm freezing. I'm not gonna lie to you. I need to jump in my sleeping bag. But if anyone has anything they want to bring up, though, we can keep this going as long as y'all need. If anyone wants to touch upon anything else, feel free. But otherwise, I'm gonna wrap it on up if you don't mind.
honestly, I think from what I saw, the things that were covered, they're pretty much out there. All I can really say is if you see something posted, just share it. That's the only
Yeah,
real way that you can spread awareness on this because I don't feel enough people know about Nate and Paige, and not enough people post about them. They're not viral like Lisa Richards. You know what I mean?
right.
So if you see it, share it. That's all I can really say. If you see
Tell
a
many
post,
people as you can. Tell many
yeah,
people as you can.
yeah,
Yeah, right
show
at the
them
bottom
the
there's
video.
FN. Share as many of those
Yes,
videos you can from FN. Repost, comment, engage, hit like. Screw my
absolutely
videos.
go follow that account and
FN
literally
at the
just
bottom. Yeah.
repost. You know what I mean? Share. If you see it, share it. That's the only way that they deserve to go viral, like Lisa Richards. They should absolutely be in the limelight for this one, especially fucking you, Nate. Like Nate, just Nate. Like mostly just talking to you, Nate. Um, if you see it, share it. That's really it. And again, definitely share some of FN's videos because they're very well put together. They explain so much, and it's definitely worth it to go check out the Reddit as well.
Yeah, that subreddit is Nathaniel Page Piece. Great work over there. FN's videos in the bottom right there. Make sure you check those out. Again, repost them, share them, hit like, watch the whole video, comment on them as well. That'll all help FN's algorithm try to get this information out there to as many people as possible. And then you have the subreddit if you're looking for more information, clips from lives and all the different inconsistencies in lives from these people. You can find that on Nathaniel Page Piece, the subreddit. Again, 2 videos ago for me, it's listed right at the top. If you're having trouble seeing it, I'm sure people will say in the comment section too if you're having trouble finding
Now,
it.
there's a lot of people in the comments also saying that they want to find a good situation for that dog. If anybody does have any contact with them and they don't want to take care of the dog, there's people in this comments that want to take the dog. So there they go. Get rid of your dog. Let somebody here have it that wants to get it back in health and take care of it.
And actually care for it, instead of abuse it.
There's your way out, Nate. You want to take care of the dog? We got people right here who'll take it. Come on.
Yeah, clearly you hate the dog, right? Shit. That's
And
a
that's another
solution right there.
if anybody probably like I noticed that the last live or so they did they said something about people noticing them in public. If you ever do notice them, if you know the town or whatever, like shoot me or my mom a message because she is going to try to report them for absolutely everything she can, for the dog, for getting into their accounts. Obviously, they can run a lot, and their supporters are going to get them as far as their wallets can. But that would be a big help, so she knows kind of what area to, because I'm sure they're heading to a new area now that my mom's out of that RV.
Right. So
Congrats on your mom
this
for
is
that.
Margaret right here in the second box. Again, any information about their potential location or anything like that to help um, Margaret's mom, who was done dirty by Nate and Page, also Page's mom. The information goes there. Don't send that to me. Send that to Margaret right there. That second box. We should give them a follow as well. I love your last video, by the way. It shows you like with child, like pregnant, and then it shows you like like it's your kid's birthday today, right?
Yeah, she just turned 3.
That was the most wholesome fucking video I've seen on TikTok in the last 3 years. Thank you for that. I need that heartwarming fucking moment of my life. Thank you.
But she's my baby. Wish I could have more, but I cut those ties because I was like, 3 years in a row, I'm good.
Well, you'll want to have 9 to 11 kids and not take care of any of them and talk about them on the internet randomly.
Right.
You don't.
But thank you to everyone that came in here again, guys. Follow all 4 of these people. They're all amazing in their own right. You have Scammy Awards. We've worked a few stories together, but we've been friends on here for years. We met doing awareness. It was me, Scammy Awards, and Penny Fairy for a grip. And those are like the heydays of awareness on here. I miss those fucking days. Make sure you follow the second box. That's Margaret. That's Paige's sister, speaking out about all the lies and inconsistencies in grooming going on with Nate and Paige from NP Jewelry, they're called now, I believe. And you're thinning out the nonsense. We ran awareness for so many different creators on here. The journalistic integrity from thinning out the nonsense right there is unmatched. He can go toe to toe with any real reporter any fucking day. And then you have FN on the bottom there, who's leading the charge and gathering all this information and is bringing this awareness to the forefront in like a new generation kind of way. So make sure you check out all 4 of these people, give them a follow, check all their videos out.
Everyone, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you,
for having
Troy.
me. Troy.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming up. Again, I'm very awkward with these co-hosts. I don't ever do them. So you guys really ran the show. Thank you guys for making it so enjoyable and fun, even though it's such a horrible topic for us to talk about.
Thank you guys for all being on my mom's side and having her back a little. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Definitely. If you guys need anything, you reach out to me, homie. Like anything at all, I'll see what I can do. No problem.
Thanks.
Bye, y'all.
All right, have a good night, guys. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't
Margaret,
either.
we're stuck
What's
here
that?
together. It's just me and you forever now. What you thinking?
I don't know if the boyfriend like that. All
All right,
right.
I got you here. Margaret, have a good one, homie.
Yeah,
Thank you so
you
much for
too.
coming out. All right. Cindy, do you have anything else to say, or is this a mess up? All right. I'm going to drop you if you want to come back to me. But all right. Again, big old shout out to everyone that helped this live go. My input was very little compared to how much work all these other people have done, and kin of the creator themselves. And that was all nice to get everything packaged together and have us all be on the same page and compare notes in real time. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being here. And I wanted to end the live without thanking you guys as well. I was going to take gifts off for this live, but honestly, now that we're done, I feel like it would piss Nate off a lot more if everyone was getting gifts through the whole fucking live. So I kept them up for that reason. I'm not above being petty and petulant. I just want to throw that out there. I am a fucking child, and I like talking shit, you know. But I think lives like this are important. Two of us just came out of retirement doing awareness. Me and Adam from thinning out nonsense, just came out of retirement just to do this, just to um, raise awareness on these 2 horrible people. One, Paige is a complicit victim, but a victim. That she's part of the scam and all that. But I think most of us want to see a separation where Paige at least learned some life skills, even if still with Nate, is something to help her. Rita, thank you, homie. Just something. So when her credit is all banged up because everything is in her name, and when because Nate likes them young, when it's no longer her turn, I don't want to be left with nothing. You know what I mean? Regardless of what she's doing now, she was influenced at a very early age. Your late teens are so fucking formative. You learn so much in your late teens of what kind of adult you're gonna be. You start working towards that. And unfortunately, she was misguided and misled by some creep. 'Cause that's all he is a creep. A lot of good points were made tonight, but let's talk about the most important points. Paige is only 22, confirmed by her father, confirmed by her mother, confirmed by her sister. Paige is only 22, so by their own timeline, they took a picture together on Instagram, and he's saying "I love you" when she was 17. By the realistic timeline given to us by the sister and a few other people, but the sister mainly important right now, Paige was only 15 or 16 when they started dating, not talking, dating. And they are mistreating those animals, especially the dog in that RV. What I forgot to mention, anyone else was here, there was another dog. They got a dog. For 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we saw this dog on live. And then all of a sudden, the dog was gone. What dog? There was never a dog. Gaslighting through and through. Whatever happened to that dog, we'll never know. And there's also a cat in Florida that Paige set free. Just set fucking free in Florida. I've camped out in Florida many a times. That cat didn't last long. It's like Jurassic Park in Florida, you know? And all these things are horrible. All these things are disgusting, and I'm sorry I even have to bother you folks with it. But I do think it's important to talk about. Thank you, Stacy. We can pin comments now. If any moderators feel the need to pin anything, feel free. I'm not going to be live too much longer again. I'm fucking cold, man. Got chilly out here. I'm going to dive in my sleeping bag in a second. But that is the subreddit. If you want to learn more information about these two and seeing all the inconsistencies with their stories. If you are a supporter of NP Jewelry on here, I ask that you either check FN's account or check the subreddit with open eyes. You know, just be unbiased and just look at it for what it is. Are we attacking two innocent people, or is something not quite right? A lot of things aren't quite right? But just do me a favor, take your us versus them glasses off for a brief moment and just look at that subreddit and see what's being said by Paige's family. More than one. We're talking 3 different family members at least. Nate's own fucking son, are saying all these things, and we have all their inconsistencies on that subreddit from almost daily on their live. Is the world out to is the world out to get these two people who are doing nothing wrong, just trying to be hippies in an RV, or are these two people extremely manipulative and trying to take everyone for anything they're worth? Well, the man, Nate, has a history of doing horrible things and is continuing to do so right now in real time. So I just want to put that out there. Thank you guys for watching. I don't know how to end this because it's not our usual, hey, I'm traveling fucking live. It's a very serious subject matter. I did try to break the tension a few times because I could just, it was too much for me to fucking bear, to be honest with you. But, I do want to thank you guys for showing up. I want to thank you guys for watching, for tuning in, listening to everyone. Everyone on that panel had a lot of interesting things to say. And, it went really well while given we're talking about a horrible subject, right? And again, if there's anyone in that community with full anonymity, fully anonymous, you can message me about anything you want. And I will not screenshot it and send it out to the world. It will never come up. You can stay in it's a conversation between you and me. If there's anything you want to talk about, if you are a part of that community and you want to ask a question and you're afraid of a repercussion or something like that, you can reach out to me privately on here, on Discord, on Instagram. If it's on Instagram, it might take me a while to get to it. I'm really behind on those messages. Discord and here would probably be the best. I will not screenshot your shit. I will not put it out there publicly. Nothing will be said to anyone unless you want it to be said. But if you need to reach out to somebody, if you're just not quite sure, or you want to ask any questions or make any statements that will just stay between you and me, feel free to hit me up at any moment, because honestly, most of you are victims in this as well. You're just having trouble seeing. Charlie, check out. Does anyone know FN's? It's like Nate NP Jewelry Exposed. Does anyone know FN's username on here? I only know the FN part. I'm sorry. And then there's a subreddit too. Don't check my last video. The one before that, it's a screenshotted subreddit. People are saying in the chat right now too. It's Nathaniel Page Piece. But if anyone knows FN's user at, not just the FN part, drop in the chat. There we go. Thank you. Nate Poland awareness page. You absolute legend. So if you type that into the search bar, NP Jewelry Exposed account, there's a whole list of videos on there as well. And that's on here on TikTok. That's this platform. Um, and again, if there's anyone from their community watching this, if there's anyone from their community here right now, check those videos out. Check those videos out. Is it really someone bullying these two innocent people, or is something not quite right? Just take a look, and see. More so over there looking anyway, but see, like, this, try to have open eyes for a moment and give it a chance. Give it a chance. But with that, folks, I am freezing. It's 10 o'clock at night. I had a fuck of a day. Let me run through my selfish, my selfish day here. I wake up. I pack up. I leave fucking Oneonta, right? I go hike to the on-ramp. I'm standing on the on-ramp, pacing back and forth with my thumb out. I get a ride. I get the ride. I get dropped off here. I'm hiking around town. I find an abandoned building. We'll walk around an abandoned building. Police show up. They were super cool. I'm like, hey, I'm out of here anyway. I pack up. I start walking around. I had a criminally trespassed to a lumberyard to get here to do this live because it's been fucking raining out all night and I needed the bridge to keep me from getting wet so we can run this live and do it all within time, right? And then we do the live and here we are. I'm fucking cold. I'm fucking tired, but I appreciate y'all for showing up. Y'all can be doing anything with your time. And you gave us a brief moment of it where we talk about a horrible, horrible man and all the horrible things he's done. So thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate y'all. I am going to head on out of here because I got a date with a sleeping bag. That's a 0-degree bag. It's really warm. But I appreciate y'all. Smuggler, good to see you, homie. Good night. Nate Poland awareness page. You really got the ball rolling on a lot of this stuff, obviously. Thank you. Thank you for everything. And just thank you everyone for watching. But yeah, okay, I'll stop rambling at you guys. This story is not over. This story is not over by a long shot. These two are not done. They're not done. They're going to be doing damage control. They're going to be shitting on anyone that brings up anything. But we're going to address this again. Again, this is not my main platform. This will never be my main platform. I only raise awareness on people out of a sense of what feels right. It feels right to use my platform to point out when people are being horrible human beings on the internet. So that's what you saw tonight. I haven't done this in over a year. It's kind of weird being back into the swing of things, but we're gonna do as much awareness as we can to help who we can and to stop people from harming other people. So thank you guys for coming through. Nathan and Big Bob, good to see you as always, homie. All right, I am out of here, guys. Thank you guys again for showing up. I'll see you all tomorrow morning. We're back to business as usual here, at least for a little while. But thank you guys for showing up again.